for Game 6 in St. Louis. When this LCS started, very few gave Houston a chance, and Games 1 and 2 humiliated at Busch Stadium, but rallied to win the last 3. Now it's the Redbirds in need of a win. But as we've seen this postseason, you can't script October.
Kent waits. In the air, we go to St. Louis with Houston in front 3 games to 2. A 3-run blast. A massive blast.
The past 2 National League representatives to the World Series were wild cards. Will it be 3 in a row? We will find out today on Fox, and we'll know the AL representative tonight or tomorrow, depending on how long it actually takes them to determine an outcome. Welcome to LCS Wednesday. I'm Jeannie Zelasco. Kevin Kennedy back for more. Almost 30 hours of baseball, not enough for the Red Sox and Yankees, so we're going to a Game 7 later today.
Well, Jeannie, this is the way it was supposed to be. These two clubs are so evenly matched. Not only this year, dating back to 2002, their last 70 games, unbelievably split 35 apiece. The runs are close, average, ERA, last at-bat wins. Now the Red Sox go ahead, obviously because of David Ortiz.
Yeah,
so let's see who the hero is tonight.
Well, now we know the starters.
Well, I like Kevin Brown going in Yankee Stadium. It's a right move. Historically, he does not pitch well in Fenway Park, whether it's the Red Sox or not. So this is the right move for Joe Torre. He's got the most rest. If his sinker's on, he could be tough and get deep into the bargain. Derek Lowe, also the right move, even though he doesn't pitch well on the road.
Take you back to the NLCS. Pete Monroe says he's been underestimated his whole baseball life.
Well, he's a sinker-slider guy. He pitched pretty well in his start the other day in Game 2 of this series. And Matt Morris, if his curveball's on, he can be tough. But people are going to ask, Jeannie, why not Roger Clemens on 3 days rest? Historically in the postseason, he's ERA over 6.5 on short rest. He only averages 5 innings. I want him on full days rest. Normally people say, well, put the kill on now. You could do that if you knew Roy Oswalt was 100%. I'm not so sure he is either because of the rib problem.
He's not so sure he is.
So Clemens I want on normal rest.
All right, let's get you to the ball game. First must-win game of the year for the Cardinals. 43 years the Astros tried to get out of the first round. Now they're 1 win away from the World Series.
A sellout crowd on hand at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. We welcome you to Game 6 of this National League Championship Series, where the Houston Astros are trying ended today with a 3-2 lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Steve Lyons and Bob Brenly, welcome to playoff baseball here on Fox. The Astros are 1 win away from their first ever trip to the World Series, and Phil Garner has made the decision in Game 6 to start 4-game winner Peter Monroe rather than Roger Clemens on 3 days rest. Steve, you do not like that decision.
I don't like the decision because I think the Houston Astros right now have the St. Louis Cardinals down, and you got to go for the jugular when you got them down. You got to treat every game like it's a 7th game of the World Series, 7th game of the playoffs, and right now I really think Houston's treating this like it's a game that they can lose. Roger Clemens is available. I think Roger Clemens should go out there and keep this crowd out of this ballgame.
All right, little point, counterpoint. The former skipper of the Diamondbacks, Bob Brenly, you like this decision made by Phil Garner.
Indeed I do, even though I used Kurt Schilling on short rest in 2001. The history says it doesn't work. Pitcher since 1999 working on short rest in the postseason, 7-19 with an ERA of over 5.5. Clemens himself in 6 postseason games on short rest, 1-2 with an ERA of over 5. Not to mention the psychological damage. You're assuming that Clemens wins if he pitches tonight. If he would happen to lose, you've got Roy Oswalt coming back tomorrow in Game 7 on short rest.
As far as the Cardinals are concerned, they dropped 3 in a row. Steve, what do they have to do to get it turned around?
Jimmy Edmonds has to swing the bat better. Didn't swing the bat all that well down in Houston, but I think against Monroe, that's a guy that he can handle.
Tony La Russa manage any differently today in Game 6?
He says he's going to push, and for Tony La Russa, that means hit and run, bunt and run, steal bases.
All righty, we've got it coming up. What a thriller Game 5 was for those of you that missed it. A classic National League Championship Series game. 2 pitchers locked up in a 0-0 game at the end of 8.5. Great defensive plays, saving hits and would-be runs. And then, dramatically in the bottom of the ninth, Jeff Kent, a walk-off home run to win it, bringing us back to St. Louis with the Astros trying to get to the series.
As always, a sea of red at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The last they saw this series in St. Louis, the Cardinals led 2-0. Now they're down 3-2, and baseball fans grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Cardinals have taken the field. The Astros starting lineup reads as follows under manager Phil Garner. Greg Biggio leads off in left field. Carlos Beltran in center. Jeff Bagwell at first. Lance Berkman in right. Jeff Kent at second. The first start of the postseason at third base for Mike Lamb. a ladder third of Jose Vizcaíno, Brad Ausmus, and Peter Monroe against Matt Morris, a 15-game winner during the regular season. Did not throw all that well his first start in Game 2 of this LCS.
You see the ERA elevated up over 5 in the postseason. In his postseason career, he's pitched actually very well, hasn't gotten a whole lot of run support. Here's the scouting report on him. Much different pitcher after the Tommy John surgery. He used to blow you away. Now he throws hard sinkers and cutters. Got to work the bottom half of that strike zone. And a big indication of whether or not he's got his good stuff or not is how hard that breaking ball is biting.
The Cardinals defensively, we cover the field, brought to you by State Farm. They have yet to commit an error in this postseason. It'll be Sanders, Edmonds, and Walker in the outfield. Roland, Renteria, Womack, and Bulls. Third to first, a battery of Morris and Matheny. Since the LCS went to a best-of-7 format in '85, 10 teams have been in the same position as the Cardinals, heading into Game 6, down 3 games to 2. In 7 of the 10 cases, the road team won Game 6 to wrap up the series. Craig Biggio looks at a strike, and we're underway. Biggio 5 hits in 22 at-bats during this LCS. Ed Rapuano calling the balls and strikes. Tim Wilkie at first, Derek Cooper at second, Gary Darling at third, Mike Winters down the left field line, Angel Hernandez down the right field line. Roland backs up on a 2-hopper. Now the electrifying Carlos Beltran. 8 hits in 17 LCS at-bats. Half of his hits for home runs. He has set a single-season postseason record with 8 home runs. Matching Barry Bonds, who hit 8 home runs during the Giants run in 2002. 1-1.
Good curveball there from Morris. As you said, Steve, good early sign if he's got that good biter. Came off the mound a little awkwardly right there. A little crow hop after delivering the ball. Mike Matheny checking with his pitcher, making sure he's okay. Kind of spun out on that left foot, the landing foot.
Two and two now to Beltran. Breaking ball down and in, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And even times when Beltran is not hitting home runs, he's still wreaking havoc against St. Louis. He had that single to lead off the 9th inning in a scoreless game in Game 5. Stole second base. They were so worried about him stealing third that Jason Isringhausen hung a slider, and it was hammered for a walk-off home run by Jeff Kent. And now Beltran with another chance to cause headaches. He had 42 stolen bases during the regular season between stops in Kansas City and then the trade to Houston. Since coming to the National League in 28 stolen base attempts, Beltran has not been thrown out. You tack on 3 more of those in the postseason. 31 of 31.
Something about Beltran is he doesn't get an extraordinarily large lead over there at first base. It's pretty much an average lead where you would see most base runners get, but he can accelerate quickly and steal that bag as well as anybody in the league.
Ball 1 to Jeff Bagwell.
I think one of the things that I've been impressed with him is his jumps that he's getting over there. He gets as good a jump as anybody I've seen in baseball.
Big time numbers for Bagwell in his career against Morris. He's yet to homer in this series. There goes a runner. Throw is high. And Beltran, a perfect 4 of 4 in this postseason. 32 of 32 in a Houston uniform.
Like Matheny had a little trouble getting the ball out of his mitt back there behind the plate. I don't know if a good throw would have made any difference or not. Once again, a tremendous jump. Good look at Mike Matheny back there behind the dish. This made the exchange pretty good. It looked like he was a little slow coming out of the chute, but I don't think a good throw would have had him anyway.
2-0 taken at the bell to strike.
I think that was a pretty good view of what Phil Garner told us about the way Beltran plays defense. He said it didn't look like he was running all that hard out there, but then you realize how much ground he's covering. Just from first to second there, it was just so easily done. The fluidity of his running is beautiful.
Hooked into short left field. It's going to fall in a base hit. Beltran had to hold up to make sure. And here come the Astros. That throw way offline from Sanders back into the infield. And a good thing that Matt Morris did not come all the way behind home plate to back up this throw. He backed up the cutoff man, or else Beltran could have crawled home.
Nice cutter there from Reggie Sanders. That ball just got away from rolling at third base. Well, once again, it's very chilly here tonight. A lot of moisture in the air. Very cold. A little wind down there at field level. Very tough to get a good grip on the ball in the early part of the game.
Boy, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for both of these teams have been deadly during this league championship series. A trio for the Astros hitting .373 with 14 runs batted in. Berkman, 3 homers and 8 driven in this LCS. Takes outside for ball 1.
Tom, I think clearly one of the other factors that went into Phil Garner's decision of not throwing Clemens on 3 days rest and using Monroe is that they feel like they can get a decent outing out of Monroe, and I don't think they're all that afraid of what Morris can do. They're so hot offensively right now.
In the air down the left field line. This will easily bring in Beltran, caught by Sanders. And Houston has taken a 1-0 lead in this Game 6 of a National League Championship Series. Berkman with 12 postseason runs batted in.
Back in that pattern of the visiting team scoring in the top of the first inning. The last game down in Houston was the only game this series that the visiting team did not score in the first.
Now Jeff Kent, the dramatic walk-off home run to give Houston a 3-2 lead in this series. It came in the bottom of the 9th inning against Jason Isringhausen.
Cutter that was intended to be low and away stayed over the heart of the plate.
Good breaking ball there by Matt Morris. Morris, the first half of the season, according to Tony La Russa, really struggled in the first inning. To borrow his phrase, a lot of crooked numbers. But over the second half, a little sharper in the opening frame. Grounded foul. And Morris ahead of Kent 0-2.
Well, Morris wants to work quickly. He's out there on the rubber waiting for a sign. Kent's not even in the batter's box yet.
Teams will do that time to time against Matt Morris. Break him out of his rhythm. Just off the outside corner with a breaking ball. 1-2 to Kent.
Well, that's one thing you can try to do as an offensive ball club to distract the other pitchers. Try to slow him down. You can't speed up a slow pitcher, but you can slow down a fast one.
Another postseason record for Carlos Beltran. He has scored 19 runs thanks to home runs and in this inning speed. Well, Ken had a good rip at a fastball there and found it straight back.
I think this inning is a classic example of how Beltran using all of his tools. Didn't have to hit the ball out of the park. He got on first base, stole second, basically turns it into a double. Bagwell dumps a hit into left field, and then a sacrifice fly gets you a run.
On the ground, they're rolling. Bobbles, throws, and still gets Bagwell at second. The The Astros get a run off Morris in the opening inning. Peter Monroe gets the ball when we return. He's come to bat bottom half of the first inning. Game 6 of this National League Championship Series, trailing 1-0. And 29-year-old journeyman right-hander Pete Monroe delivers strike 1 to Tony Womack. Base hitting to right field, only the 4th in this postseason for Tony Womack. Let's take a look at Tony La Russa's starting lineup. Larry Walker coming up. Albert Pujols bats third. Scott Rowland, the cleanup batter with Jim Edmonds in center field. Edgar Renteria, the shortstop. Latter third of Reggie Sanders, Mike Matheny, and Matt Morris.
Even though Tony La Russa mentioned to us that he was going to try to push today, maybe get some runners in motion, he said he hesitates to hit and run with Larry Walker, obviously a power guy. Would rather have him choose a pitch to swing at.
On the inside corner, a strike.
Monroe, of course, in his first start, was his first postseason appearance of any kind. Now making just his second. He's got to throw strikes early, use all 4 of his pitches, and stay down in the strike zone.
There goes Womack and a high bounce to the third. Mike Lamb's got it. And throws low, picked out of the dirt by Bagwell. So they did start the runner with Walker at the plate. And Womack's in scoring position for Albert Pujols. Pujols in the LCS, 9 hits in 19 at-bats. 3 home runs, 6 knocked in. He's been the best Cardinal hitter and by far their most consistent hitter in this postseason. Strike 1.
I'm sorry, Tom, I wouldn't be surprised to see a pitch around right here. Pujols is not only red hot for the Cardinals, he's 6 for 12 lifetime against Monroe. Scott Rowland, the on-deck hitter, 2 for 11 lifetime. Obviously, a walk right here to Pujols, whether intentional or not, would set up a potential double play.
0-1 to Pujols. Fastball ran in, almost hit it. Albert, the only Cardinal to bring his bat to the Lone Star State. You see what he did in games 3, 4, and 5. Everybody else hit less than 100. Wow. Holes in the lineup. The Cardinals have knocked a cover off the ball in 4 postseason games here at Busch Stadium. They have been dreadful on the road, including the 2 games in Los Angeles and the 3 in Houston. As a team on the road, hitting 179. At home, over 300, where they also average over 8 runs per game. There goes Womack. Fouled out of play. Tony La Russa told us more than any other player he's ever seen, Albert Pujols likes being at the plate and hitting and running at the plate. He said he looks over at his manager in the dugout, and here are those numbers we talked about, home versus the road offensively for St. Louis.
What a great jump out there at second by Womack. Pete Monroe paying a lot of attention to him, but once he starts his delivery to the plate, he is very deliberate, very slow.
I think it's dangerous in the situation that you talked about, Bob, to give him the unintentional intentional walk by pitching around him for 2 reasons. Because a lot of times if you're trying too hard to be too fine with your pitches is when one gets away from you and lands out over the middle of the plate. And the other thing is Pujols is such a great bad ball hitter. We've only seen really 1 called strike, the first pitch he threw to him. The rest of them have been out of the strike zone.
Hammered into left center field, and Pujols plays long ball.
Oh, comeback sinker. Started on the outside corner, was tailing back toward the middle of the plate. That is a strong young man right there.
And pretty much what I talked about as well. That's a nasty pitch. It wasn't a great pitch to hit. Down and away.
Now Scott Rowland. He looks at ball one.
We talked about possibly pitching around Pujols to go after Rowland. Those are the kind of things that normally you don't do until later in the ball game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning of a close game. But in the postseason, I mean, from the very first batter of the game, you've got to constantly think strategy, think odds, think percentages. And there's no question that the hottest hitter in the red uniforms today is Albert Pujols.
1-2 to Scott Rowland. Fouled out of play. Rowland did not have a hit during the division series against the Dodgers. He has 6 hits in this LCS. 2 home runs. They both came in game 2. Off the outside corner, Monroe wanted the call, didn't get it. And Rowland foul tips it into the mid of office for strike 3. Cover the field defensively for the Astros, brought to you by State Farm. Biggio, Beltran, and Berkman in the outfield. Told you Mike Lamb getting his first postseason start here today in place of Morgan Ensberg. Vizcaino, Ken, and Bagwell round out the infield. Monroe and Ausmus the battery. It's interesting to note that old adage about scoring first, and the percentages overwhelmingly favor teams that score first as far as going on to win a game. Well, we told you up until game 5, in the first 4 games where the road team scored first in the first, they lost all 4 games. Edmonds hooks it in the right field, a base hit. So Edmonds just his 5th hit of this LCS.
That bad of a pitch, down over the heart of the plate, but down below the knees. Evans went down, vaulted into right field. Jim Hickey making his first trip to the mound here.
That's a pitch that a lot of left-handers would love to hit because they like to go down and drive the ball in the lower half of the strike zone. Edmonds is a high ball hitting left-hander.
Big Albert Pujols giving his team a 1-run lead here in the bottom half of the first inning with his 4th home run of this LCS, his 6th home run of this postseason. It has been a very quiet LCS for Edgar Renteria. He's hoping to change that in game 6. And looks at ball 1 down and away. Edmonds at first. Renteria 1 of 17. In this league championship series.
Renteria, who originally signed with the Florida Marlins when he was 16 years old, didn't even want to play baseball. He was a soccer player, and he thought his future lied in that game.
Edmonds not your prototypical base stealer. There was a time in his career where he was a threat to steal a base. He had 8 on the season out of 11 attempts, but I think it's a good move on Monroe's part just to keep an eye on him over there.
And more of a slide step that time by Monroe, and this is low and away 2-0 on Renteria.
you see that a lot with guys who were good base stealers at some point in their career, and then gradually as they got older maybe lost a little bit of speed or are more valuable to the team doing other things so they don't run as much. They still know when to pick their spots. They know how to set a pitcher up, pick a pitch, and take off.
Right down the gut, a strike called to Renteria, 2-1. The only Cardinal hit in Game 5 against Backe and Brad Lidge. A 2-out single in the 6th inning by Womack. 3-1 down to Renteria. Well, the bottom part of this Cardinal order needs to get it turned around if they're going to even this series today and try and win it in Game 7 tomorrow night. In the short right field, a base hit. Edmonds a turn. He will go to third. Renteria just his second base hit. Talked about the bottom part of the order. 6, 7, and 8 spots, and now Renteria with a base hit. Look at those numbers in this LCS. After that trio, primarily Renteria, Sanders, and Matheny, wore out Dodger pitching.
Monroe's going to have to settle down and settle down fast. Too many pitches being left out over the middle of the plate, and even though the back half of this order has not been productive, they're too good at hitters to miss the pitches they're seeing today.
Sanders' first pitch swinging, pops it up into right field. It should end the inning, and it does. The Astros are running the top of the first. Full holes, a 2-1 blast in the bottom of the inning. 2-1 ball game. St. Louis leading at the end of 1 in Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. Ball 1 to Mike Lamb, high and away. Lamb making his first postseason start. He has one at bat in this series, a pinch hit home run. Let's send it downstairs and welcome Chris Myers.
Hey, Tom, Mike Lamb is a little less anxious today. It has nothing to do with his first start in this series. He's a proud father. His wife gave birth to their first child, a son, 9 pounds 3 ounces on Saturday. Andrew Michael, everybody healthy. But he said last week when he was in St. Louis, the baby was due when his wife would call to say hi. He would panic and think it was go time. He said, don't call unless it's for real. And this is for real, obviously getting his first start. Now he says he's much more relaxed, hoping to get the Astros to the World Series. You can't script October baseball, and you can't script having a baby.
Amen to that.
Well, not a bad start for Lamb either, drawing a walk right there. He's in the lineup also because of his career numbers against Matt Morris, 4 for 10 with 3 bombs in the 4 hits.
He said Monday he really hit the wall emotionally, just going through the first berth.
Well, congratulations to the entire Lamb family. There is nothing more precious or wonderful in life as we know it than the birth of a child. Great stuff. Bill Garner took over midway through this season, replacing Jimmy Williams. There's a ground ball that could be 2. Womack having trouble getting it out of the glove. And in his throw, forced Renteria to make a pirouette beyond the second base bag, and they can't turn the double play. The generally very, very dependable Cardinal defense.
Well, Womack gets it caught in his glove, and that upsets the timing of Renteria. Renteria wants to take the ball on the left side of the bag and continue on through it. But because he had to stop and wait, he had to then change what he wanted to do at second base. Now take the throw, go away from the play, and try to make a throw onto first base. You're not going to get too many guys if you have to do that.
Brad Ausmus, 1 of 13 in this series. Morris walked 5 batters, 1 intentionally in his 5 innings of Game 2. And already 2 walks through the first 6 hitters in Game 6 today.
Jose Vizcaíno, the runner at first base, not really much of a base stealing threat, only attempted 2 on the season. This is one of those situations, however, you may try a hit and run just to stay out of the double play. So much of the game is determined on how your lineup rolls around. I'm sure Phil Garner would love to get Pete Monroe up to the plate this inning, get him out of the way and be able to roll around to the top of the order starting fresh, rather than have Monroe lead off the inning in the event of a double play right here.
Vizcaíno at first, 1 out, the 0-2 pitch. Fastball runs in on Ausmus, a ball and 2 strikes.
Ausmus looked like he couldn't believe that ball didn't hit him. He was almost hoping that the ball would run in a little further with the 0-2 count at that point. Take one for the team and end up on first.
Fouled away, still a ball and 2 strikes on Brad Ausmus. Following today's game here in St. Louis, stay tuned for coverage of Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. The New York Yankees in the Bronx hosting the Boston Red Sox. Stay tuned to Fox Sports, your exclusive home of postseason baseball. First time ever a team has come back trailing 3-0 to force a Game 7. And the pitching matchup, Terry Francona telling Kenny Albert immediately after the game last night that he had made the decision to go with Derek Lowe, a fresher Derek Lowe than Tim Wakefield. Kevin Brown banged around his first start in the LCS. It's funny, you get to this time of year and you have 4 teams left, and players that you went out and acquired during the offseason, you brought them in to pitch games like these. What a magnificent performance last night by Curt Schilling. 7 innings, 1 run. One of the reasons Kevin Brown was brought to the Yankees, to go out and pitch games like he'll pitch tonight. 2-2 on Austin. And we'll see if Brown has the same stuff to go out there and compete that Schilling had last night.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Curt Schilling went out there obviously not at 100%. It was one of the best games of his postseason career.
Pretty good at bat here by Ausmus. Fell behind 0-2. Took a ball, fouled off a couple. Took a ball, fouled off one. Now the count is full. Would you start the runner here?
I would, once again, just to try to stay out of the double play. Should Ausmus hit a ground ball right here, you want to get Monroe into that batter's box this inning any way you can.
There he goes. We'll do it again.
Of course, you always run the risk of a strike him out, throw him out, double play, but Ausmus, at least through the course of this at bat, looks like he's able to get the bat on the ball, at least put it in play.
Ausmus only struck out 56 times during the regular season. Will get his bat on the ball for the most part. Tony La Russa talked about being aggressive. There's no reason why the Astros shouldn't be. I think it's much more difficult when you're the team that if you lose, you go home. Much more difficult for that team to play aggressive baseball because in the back of your mind, you're worried about making mistakes that can run you out of the ball game.
10th pitch, now the 11th of this at bat, and again fouled back out of play.
Now Phil Garner decides to pitch Pete Monroe in this game with sort of a nothing to lose attitude. We can still go to Game 7. Well, they got to play that way too. Aggressive, keep putting the pressure on the Cardinals. They are the team that has nothing to lose today.
Three-two again. There goes Vizcaíno. Strike 3, throw to second, and Ausmus will be tagged out. Strike him out, throw him out, double play ends the inning.
Let's talk a little bit about Matheny's quick footwork. This foot's going to come up. This foot strides out to make the throw as he comes up out of there throwing. Very quick for a big guy. And then Ausmus pulling a little trick at catcher against catcher, trying to stand in his way so he can't do it.
No contact made right there. Otherwise, Vizcaíno would have been called out immediately. But you also saw Matheny set up with the right foot back. His body was already turned just a little bit to speed up the process of catching the ball, getting himself into a good throwing position.
And Matheny will lead off the Cardinals' second inning. St. Louis with a 2-1 lead. Houston a sac fly RBI off the bat of Lance Berkman in the top of the first inning. Pujols a 2-run home run to left center in the Redbirds first. Matheny just 2 of 12 in the LCS. And behind 0-2 to Peter Monroe. Monroe appeared in 21 games during the regular season, was with Houston in 2002, again in 2003. They let him go. Minnesota released him in the middle of this summer. Houston picked him back up. That will roll foul. Good decision there by Monroe. If he picks it up, he never throws out Matheny.
I think the decision came from Brad Ausmus, the catcher, coming out of the chute there. It looked like Monroe was going to make the play. He appeared like he was getting ready to bend over and pick the ball up. I'm sure Brad Ausmus was yelling at him the whole way to let it go, let it go. A lot of English on that ball. Just enough to spin it into foul territory.
It's a gutsy call to let that one go. The second bounce was about 5 or 6 feet fair.
Monroe, originally drafted by the Boston Red Sox, had a strained forearm, did not pitch after signing, and then has bounced around. Toronto, Texas, Houston, Minnesota, back to Houston. He slowed that one down enough for it to roll to Kent and throw out Matheny. That had base hit written all over.
Yeah, the fans here are already cheering what they thought was going to be a single up the middle. Ball hit very hard. Monroe just gets the thumb of his glove on it, enough to slow it down for Jeff Kent to make the play.
Well, Monroe not fooling many hitters early on in this game. Cardinals got 2 runs, 4 base hits in the opening inning. And Morris, a good cut, fouls it back down a strike.
Kind of amazing that Monroe's on this team to begin with. He got taken off the roster. He saw the writing on the wall. He didn't think they were interested in him anymore, so he signed with the Twins, and that didn't work out.
2 away.
Had a clause in his contract that said if he's in AAA and has a better opportunity to go somewhere else by June 1st, he can. And by June 3rd, he was back in the big leagues with the Astros.
I always found it kind of humorous in the media guide when they list your transactions of your career, who drafted you, the time you spent on the disabled list, potential trades, and granted free agency. That sounds like they're doing you a favor. Granted free agency just means they let you go. And 4 different times, Peter Monroe was granted his free agency.
Now there are certain guys that can't wait for their free agency. I was granted free agency twice. Didn't want it either time.
On the outside, off the outside corner, 1-1 to Womack, who singled to right field, leading off the St. Louis first inning and scored on the Albert Pujols 2-run home run. 1-2 to Womack.
You think Carlos Beltran's going to be worried about granting free agency?
Pulled into right field, and Womack, who had 3 hits in the first 5 games of this series, 2 for 2 today.
The Astros have had a lot of success against Tony Womack when they keep the ball away from him and even elevate it a little bit. This pitch seems to be middle of the plate. Tony Womack showing a good quick bat, hooking that ball back into right field. Well, the idea with Tony Womack and guys like him is to make him hit the ball in the air, especially to the opposite field. Doesn't have the kind of power to drive the ball over the left fielder's head. Hits a lot of lazy fly balls that way. You come inside, he's very quick.
This Cardinal lineup will wake up very quickly if they keep seeing the pitches they're seeing.
Strike 1 to Larry Walker, who bounced out to third on a hit and run in the first inning, advancing Womack on to second base. Walker 11 of 35 overall in this postseason, but has struck out a surprising 11 times in 34 at bats. That one nearly thrown away.
said that the home run that Walker hit against him in Game 2 was of a changeup. He said, I have to keep throwing him the changeup. I probably just won't do it in that same situation. It's my second best pitch. I got to use it.
On the ground, right at Vizcaíno. Will throw to first, and that will end the inning. A 2-out single by Womack. We go to the third in Game 6 of this LCS. 2-1 St. Louis. Peter Monroe to lead off the Astros' third inning. St. Louis in front, 2-1. And Monroe behind a strike. 1-1. Monroe only 2 hits and 29 at-bats during the regular season. Monroe rather than Roger Clemens on 3 days rest. That was a decision made by Phil Garner. 3-hopper down to Pools. 1 away. We caught up with Tony La Russa in between innings, and here's what he had to say.
Tony, you talked about the fact that you wanted your team to stay aggressive even though your backs are against the wall. Do you like what you've seen so far?
Oh, absolutely. You know, pushing good. Guys having good at-bats. Just missed a bigger inning in the first, but I like the way we're going about it.
Pretty good start in the ball game so far for Matt Moore. Seems to have that good curveball, keeping the ball down. Exactly the things you told us this afternoon.
Well, if he stays down there, Bob, he'll get a lot of outs to give us a great chance to win.
And again, we thank Tony La Russa, Phil Garner, Jim Hickey that have joined us this entire league championship series. 2 first-class organizations. And both will be a worthy representative for the National League in the World Series. Cardinals have not been to the Fall Classic since 1987. The Astros have never been to the World Series. 1-1 to Craig Biggio. Obviously, the Yankees and the Red Sox series getting so much of the publicity in the headlines across the country, which either one of those 2 teams wins Game 7 tonight, they better bring their A game for the World Series. Nobody talked about Arizona in 2001. Even fewer talked about the Florida Marlins last year. Ask the Yankees about both of those teams. Caught by Renteria.
Renteria made an adjustment after he jumped in the air. Went straight up, anticipating that ball being over his head. Had to reach back toward the middle of the infield to snare that line drive.
Now Carlos Beltran. Strike 1. He walked, stole a base, scored the only Houston run in the opening inning.
Talking about that other series, Tom, looking ahead to the World Series, no matter who it happens to be. Those 2 teams coming out of the American League, their pitching staff figures to be banged up a little bit, maybe a little overworked. And we've seen a lot of offense in this series with these 2 pitching staffs, so figures to be a high-scoring postseason this year.
Yeah, this season figures to resemble much more that 2002 World Series between the Anaheim Angels and the San Francisco Giants. In the air, right field, Walker going back at the wall, and it's up against it. Walker with a great play off the wall and holds Beltran to a single.
Once again, Beltran not getting fooled much at the plate. I'm not sure if he didn't hustle out of the box, but Walker's as good as it gets in right field, getting that ball back in. Didn't look like he hesitated out of the box. That's just a guy who knows how to play right field.
All that experience in Colorado really helped him. Every ball hit over your head in Colorado hits the wall.
Yeah, either the one behind you or the one on the 3rd deck or the 4th deck. Walker's been making that play his whole career. Oftentimes he will fake out a runner thinking he's going to catch the ball in the air. Blistered down the left field line by Bagwell. Ricochets off the facing, then goes into left center field. And Beltran stumbles around third, but he will score. The little nooks and crannies in every ballpark can make a difference. And when you can run like Beltran, you take advantage of it, and he scores on the double by Jeff Bagwell.
Ball was scalded just inside the third baseline. Reggie Sanders has to honor the fact that that ball may roll all the way down into the corner. So he was busting it over to that third baseline. The ball hits the facing of the bleachers and kicks back into shallow left. Reggie lost his feet momentarily.
Reggie Sanders had that same play down in Houston. Sanders actually played that ball exactly the way he's supposed to. Just a bad hop. Something you can't predict.
Go-ahead run is at second base for Lance Berkman. It's high, ball one. Man, can Carlos Beltran run? We were told he had the speed of Willie Wilson before this series began. And did he show it off right there? 2-0.
Effortlessly he does it. He'll have a little stumble around third base right here. Almost goes down. Still scores easily.
Even his ability to stay on his feet was amazing right there. Most players would be rolling over there at Gene Lamont's feet in that third base coach's box.
Look at the length of the strides. He just came up short on one of his steps there at third base.
Five-tool guy. Shows his power. We've seen a whole bunch of that in this series. Great speed, running the bases, also flagging down balls in the outfield. There is nothing on the field that's required of a player that this guy cannot do at the highest level.
Kind of lost in the shuffle of this inning in the play that Walker made in right field. He was a smidgen from hitting another home run in this series,
which would have been a postseason record. He's in a tie in that category with Barry Bonds, 8 of them right now. Well, you have a base open, the red-hot Lance Berkman at the plate. And you have Jeff Kent standing in the on-deck circle, a right-handed batter. Of course, in the 9th inning, it was a no-brainer to set up a potential double play in Game 5. Three and one now to Berkman. And we've said it many times during this series. So much focus has been on Carlos Beltran that very little attention has been given to Berkman, despite the fact that he has knocked in 12 runs in this postseason, only 2 fewer than Beltran. Nowhere close to the strike zone. So a 2-out walk to Berkman, and here comes Kent.
Five pitches already here in the top of the 3rd inning. Still needs to get the 3rd out of this inning.
Here's Kent. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2 game in the 3rd. Hammered down the left field line, and boy, did Morris get away with one there. Kent may have hit it off the end of the bat, but this was a hanger.
That cement mixer looked like didn't do anything. Ball spun but never really took the break. Stayed up over the inside part of the plate.
Came back with another breaking ball. 2 low, 1 ball and 1 strike to Kent.
Kent is seriously in that bail and wail type mode right now. He doesn't bail out of there like a Kevin Millar does with his front foot. Actually strides straight at the pitcher. The top half of his body is leaning way out over the middle of the plate, and then he's just trying to hook everything to left field with the upper half of his body and his arms.
Fastball down and in. 2-1 to Kent.
Mike Matheny coming out from behind home plate as if he were going to try to pick Berkman off of first base, but Albert Pujols never moved from his defensive position. Watch Matheny come out of the chute looking to pick down at first base.
Liner caught by Renteria to end the inning. Albert Pujols will lead off the third in a 2-2 game. Albert Pujols digging in against Peter Monroe. First pitch swinging, blasted into right center field, and it's up against the wall. Pujols into second base with a double.
Monroe elevating another sinker for Albert Pujols. This one right in the middle of the plate, belt high. Probably fortunate that ball stayed in the ballpark.
No question. You got to admire the guts of Monroe right now, but he's got to locate better than he is.
Scott Rowland struck out his first time up. A fastball low. Rowland hitless in his last 7 at-bats of this series. 1-1. That's a pitch he's been chasing primarily this entire postseason, outside of a game here and a game there.
Monroe got that pitch higher than high. A little bit higher than the one that Pujols drove into right center field.
One-two pitch to Rowland. Even high.
See how far he'll go. Climb the ladder. That's a term we use in the advanced meetings when talking about opposing hitters. If they'll chase a high fastball, throw the next one a little bit higher, go right up the ladder.
Pujols a go-ahead run at second base with nobody out in the St. Louis third. 2-2 pitch. Fouled away. Will do it again. The 3 big guns in Tony La Russa's lineup the entire season. Pujols, Rowland, and Edmonds. It's been primarily Pujols doing the damage in this LCS outside of a 2-homer game by Rowland in game 2.
One of the things that's helped Peter Monroe out is the fact that he does throw a lot of breaking balls and throws them for strikes. Right now, with the 2-strike count on Rowland, he's very defensive up there on 88-mile-an-hour fastballs that are being thrown by him, still trying to protect against a potential changeup, slider, or curveball.
On the ground in the hole, Vizcaíno, long throw. Bagwell comes off the bag wisely, preventing that one from going up the right field line. An infield hit for Rowland.
Very heady play by Jeff Bagwell at first base. A nice stop by Jose Vizcaíno. No way they're going to throw Scott Rowland out from there. Bagwell came storming off of that base at first to make sure that Albert Pujols didn't try to advance to third. You see Pujols took a couple of strides off of second base as if he were going to go to third. Bagwell didn't let that happen.
Activity begins in the Houston bullpen. A double by Pujols, a single by Roland to start this third inning in a 2-2 game. Chad Harville begins to throw.
I really think Roland's approach there got him that base hit. Protecting against every pitch, fouling off the heaters, getting a changeup, and able to hit it for a base hit.
Edmonds' first pitch swinging, pops it up into left field. Now Pujols going back to the bag to tag up. And here he comes. Here comes the throw from Biggio. Not in time. Now that is pushing things, to borrow the phrase from Tony La Russa.
Of the three Astros outfielders, Biggio by far the weakest arm. He's caught flat-footed out there in left field making that catch. Albert Pujols challenges his arm and beats him on this play.
The trail runner Roland also advanced.
That's just great baseball and knowing who you're playing against. Biggio not comfortable in left field, does not throw nearly like he used to. They know that if you're going to challenge someone, he's the guy to do it.
They appeal at second base, thinking Pujols left early. Eric Cooper, the umpire there, said no.
At the very least, if you're a left fielder and have any chance of throwing someone out at third base, you've got to get behind that ball, come in, and catch it on the run.
Base open here with Sanders in the on-deck circle. The batter is Edgar Renteria. Single to right field his first time up. And a base hit into center field. Pujols scored. Roland scored. The first 2 RBIs in the series for Renteria.
Slumping at the plate, one thing you can do is get back to basics. Stay up the middle of the field. Renteria gets a sinker down, stays right up the middle. Ball hits off the side of the mound into center field to drive in a couple of runs.
Here comes Phil Garner. He elected to go with Peter Monroe in Game 6, and Monroe does not get out of the third. Peter Monroe leaves after 2 1/3 innings, has allowed 8 hits so far, 4 runs. We talked about it, fellas, at the very beginning. The decision made by Phil Garner. Rather than bringing back Roger Clemens on 3 days rest, he goes with Peter Monroe.
And not a very good Peter Monroe tonight. A lot of pitches up over the heart of the plate. Didn't seem to hit a spot all night long. And the Cardinals very aggressive. They weren't going to allow him to get away with any mistakes.
Yeah, did not have his location tonight. And even he'll tell you, if I don't, I'm in big trouble. And those numbers could have been worse.
Chad Harville takes over on the mound. See his numbers in this postseason. Harville in 1/3 of an inning in Game 2. Allowed a hit and a run. He gave up a 2-run home run to Scott Rowland. In Game 1, 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit and 1 run. Gave up the big 3-run double to Jim Edmonds in the opening game of this series. The only 2 relievers we saw out of the Houston bullpen in the 3 games at Minute Maid Park were Dan Wheeler and the sensational Brad Lidge.
I'm not sure that sensational covers it.
I think you're right. Cardinals with a 2-run lead, 1 on and 1 out here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. In the final 2 games in Houston, the Cardinals scored 5 runs in games 4 and 5. That one's shot into right field. It's a fair ball and a goal to the corner. Renteria on his way to third. They'll hold him there.
Location once again. So far, the pitchers for the Astros have not hit Brad Ausmus's glove at all. Chad Harville has had a nightmarish postseason.
Now Mike Gallo, the left-hander, gets ready in the bullpen. Mike Matheny hit the ball very sharply. Back to the pitcher. Ricocheted off his glove. Went right to Jeff Kent, throw him out. Infield in. Cardinals trying to blow this one open very early. Much like they did in game 1. And really in game 2. Although Houston climbed back in it late. Well, you have a 2-run lead here. You're only in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Mike Matheny is one of the best bunters on this Cardinal team.
And Tony La Russa likes to use the squeeze.
He lets him swing away, and he pops it up and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike on Matheny.
Talk about a team being aggressive. What they've done so far in this game, a squeeze play would be a very aggressive move. Matheny does hit a lot of ground balls. Get some guys in motion, let Matheny drop it down. You can steal another run.
Concerned about that suicide squeeze. Phil Garner pitches out.
Here's where you do it. You pitch out 2 times in a row, Bob.
Well, if you're really concerned about the squeeze play, absolutely. You've got the pitcher on deck. I mean, if you think it's a legitimate threat that the Cardinals might try a squeeze play right here, go ahead and pitch out again, run the count to 3-1, and then you can either go ahead and intentionally walk Matheny or, pitch him tough on the 3-1 count, but got to be careful right here.
Rolling away, 3 balls and a strike. Renteria, the runner at 3rd. Reggie Sanders on at 2nd. Infield in with 1 out. 3 balls and a strike on Matheny. Down the right field line. Foul ball.
You can just see the approach by the Cardinals hitters in this game. They're all trying to stay inside the ball, keep the ball in the big part of the field, try to hit it from gap to gap. You don't see guys jumping out there, hooking balls down the line. And when you're struggling offensively, that's one of the things you get back to. Just try to stay up the middle of the field.
Pujols double up the middle. Renteria hit a ball up the middle. That's what Tony La Russa said he needed to have his team do, especially against Monroe.
3-2. Grounded foul.
His biggest fear was with a guy who doesn't throw all that hard, as they'd have too many guys going up there trying to pull the ball into the seats. Keep the ball in the middle of the field, stay within yourself, take what he gives you. He gave him 4 runs.
3-2 again. Struck him out on a breaking ball. Big pitch, big out right there for Chad Harville. 2 gone in the inning, and infield backs up.
Anytime you have a base open, you cannot automatically assume you're going to get a fastball on a full count. See, the good breaking ball by Harville was going to be a strike whether Matheny swung at it or not. Good pitch.
That sets up an excellent opportunity here with 2 outs to strike out Morris, too. You don't get that out, you're looking at a situation where Tony Womack may come to the plate. Morris led this team in strikeouts.
We invite you to play Hit the Pros, presented by the all-new GMC Canyon, and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword games. GMC, we are professional grade. Runners at second and third, and Matt Morris takes a breaking ball, strike 1. A 2-run home run by Pujols in the first. A 2-run single by Renteria here in the third. 0-2 to Morris.
That should be the last fastball he sees in this count. I mean, pitchers can hit fastballs. That's what they see in batting practice. Granted, it's from a coach from a shorter distance, but that's all they ever see are straight pitches to hit in batting practice. Got to put a little wrinkle in it.
Fastball paints the outside corner at 96 miles per hour. But the Cardinals break the 2-2 tie. We go to the fourth. 4-2 St. Louis. Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. Already the 2 teams have combined to score 6 runs on 12 base hits. Coming off Game 5, where there was not a single run and a total of 2 hits through the first 8.5 innings. Well, now Tony Womack having to leave the game. Hector Luna will take over at second base. Womack, a perfect 2 for 2 in the game here today.
Well, obviously, we'll try to find out the reason for Tony Womack leaving this ball game. He was just taking the thrown ground balls from Albert Pujols like the infielders do between innings, and suddenly he's walking off the field.
Wasn't even involved in last inning's action.
Well, certainly Chris Myers will be all over that story, and hopefully everything's all right with Tony Womack. Matt Morris will face Mike Lamb, Jose Vizcaino, and Brad Ausmus here in the Houston 4th inning. Morris has not been very sharp through the front 3 innings. Well, you can tell Womack is in some kind of pain after busting out of the batter's box. That 2-out single in the 2nd inning. Two and 1 to Lamb, who walked his first time up. Chad Qualls throws in the bullpen. Pitcher spot due up 4th for the Astros here in the 4th. 2-1 to Lamb. 2-2. Let's send it down to Chris Myers.
Hey, Tom, I spoke with the Cardinal trainer, Barry Weinberg. Severe low back spasms for Tony Womack. It's something he hasn't had before. He couldn't get loose. He came off the field and told Barry about it and said the pain was excruciating. So the Cardinal training medical staff is on it, but obviously he's out of this game. He had gone 2 for 2 with a run scored.
Chris, thank you very much. How disappointing is that for St. Louis? I mean, Womack's been very quiet this entire series. This one hammered into right field after missing foul a moment ago. He doesn't miss this time. Lamb, his 2nd hit in this LCS, and both have gone for home runs. Well, hit a ball into the upper deck, foul on the last swing, and straightened this one out to make it a 1-run game.
5 hits lifetime against Matt Morris, 4 of them home runs. That's that happy zone for a left-handed hitter, down and in.
This is a guy who doesn't use a whole lot of movement outside of his hands, and that's it.
Well, you got to wonder how long Tony La Russa is going to stay with Matt Morris. Giving up 3 runs, 4 hits, walked 3 batters. He told us before the game today, all hands on deck in that Cardinal bullpen. He was a little bit concerned about the availability of Julian Tavarez.
His concern was not who was available, but who could he rely on if he brought him into a game.
Vizcaino pops it up. Playable for Roland in fair territory. 1 away. While we have a moment, let's send it back to Los Angeles. Here's Didi Zalasko.
Oh, there's always controversy when the Yankees and Red Sox meet, but Game 6 served up extra drama. Mark Bellhorn into the night, but where? Ground rule double or home run? Upon further review, Bellhorn takes the bases and eventually takes the Red Sox into Game 7. You know the drama will continue. It's coming up next on Fox.
Brad Ausmus serves it into center field, a base hit. Cardinal crowd getting a little restless. You jump out to a 2-1 lead. Morris can't hold it. You give him a 4-2 lead. They've shaved that in half. Adam Everett going to be sent up to bat for Harville, who allowed a double to Reggie Sanders, but got back-to-back strikeouts with runners at second and third and only 1 out to end the Cardinal 3rd inning.
You feel bad for a guy like Everett, who was the everyday shortstop on this team as well, injured himself. And then Phil Garner down the stretch and went on a rehab assignment, didn't get a chance to get that many at-bats, and Garner just feels like he's not game ready. He's healthy, but he hasn't had a chance to see any live pitching.
He's a good, solid player. Everyday players. You mentioned, Steve, this isn't some guy who gets a start here or there, comes off the bench a lot. He was their everyday shortstop until he fractured a bone in his left hand.
Really feel for guys like Everett getting a chance to play a little bit. Andy Pettit, Chris Carpenter for the Cardinals.
Wade Miller.
Guys that have been there all year, have contributed, and then cannot play in the postseason because of injury.
There really is a testament to both of these teams. I mean, especially those 3 pitchers that you just named. The Cardinal ace all season long, Chris Carpenter. 2 of the real big guns in that Astros rotation when the season began, Andy Pettit, Wade Miller. None of the 3 will appear in this league championship series. Carpenter maybe if the Cardinals go to the World Series. Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-1 to Everett.
I really think there should be a statistic. We keep stats on everything else in baseball. Mike Matheny with this block of a pitch in the dirt keeps that runner at first base, keeps the double play in order. Saved 90 feet right there.
Bases saved.
I think it should be a stat. I really do.
The only time you ever see the importance of a blocked ball like that is when it's not. There's a guy on third base, the ball squeaks by, someone scores. Those guys block them 99% of the time, and the only guy that gives you credit is the backup catcher.
Diving play by Renteria. What a ball.
One thing you can count on with Edgar Renteria, he may be struggling at the plate before tonight, but he brings that glove with him every day. Just a spectacular diving stop. Strong throw from an awkward angle to second base to get the lead runner.
It's amazing how on Watch him square his shoulders up, even though he's going away from the play. Dives full out, able to square his shoulders back to that play to make an accurate throw.
Renteria back-to-back seasons, a Gold Glove winner at shortstop. He is just a sensational defender and showing it off here today. Biggio lifts a fly ball into right field, playable for Larry Walker to end the inning. A home run by Lamb makes it a 4-3 Cardinal lead. Top of the order due up for St. Louis. Roger Clemens would be the Game 7 starter if necessary for Houston. After 3.5 here in Game 6, St. Louis with a 4-3 lead and now taking over on the mound. He allowed 5 hits and 5 runs in 1 inning of Game 1. Chad Qualls.
Well, not that he needs us to defend him, but some of those 5 hits were bleeders, broken back ground balls that found holes, cue shots off the end of the bat.
I think he's been put in odd situations for him. I think he'll fare a lot better starting an inning like this.
Hector Luna getting his first at-bat since taking over for the injured Tony Womack. First pitch swinging and a 2-hopper to short. 1 pitch, 1 out for Qualls, who tossed 2 scoreless innings in the division series his first 2 outings. Then tagged with a blown save after he allowed a 3-run game-tying home run to Adam LaRoche in Game 4. Came back with a scoreless inning in Game 5. And then the 1 bumpy outing in the league championship series. Breaking ball in there to Larry Walker. Qualls had a very good regular season. His rookie season, brought up from AAA New Orleans, appeared in 24 games, had a 3.62 ERA. So he threw the ball very well for this club down the stretch. And what a closing stretch it was for the Astros to win the wild card, winning 36 of their final 46 games to leapfrog 6 teams that were in front of them in the wild card race in the middle of August.
And when you win 36 out of 46, you can point to a lot of aspects of your game that carried you through, but a lot of people say it was the strength of that bullpen. Qualls, one of the guys that was dominating during that period of time. They have a lot of confidence in his ability.
Good looking fastball that paints the inside black to Larry Walker. 2 gone.
.94-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner, mid-thigh. Just froze Larry Walker.
Pujols 2 for 2. His first time up with Womack aboard. Bryant. This one hammered down the right field line. And that is a foul ball. Well, you need about 15 outfielders to defend this guy.
I was just thinking the same thing. How do you defend this guy? He's got pull power to left field. He's got opposite field power. Hits line drives. Just foul down that right field line.
There you see the market made. Just foul.
It's funny, too, in his first 2 at-bats, Bobby, the home run he hit to left field, and he comes up and bangs one into right center for a double. It felt like he hit that one harder.
Pujols has worn out the Astros this season. Include the 18 games in the regular year. 9 home runs. Lamb backed up on it. It played him instead of him playing it.
Well, that's where the problem is defensively for Lamb. 14 errors this season in limited time. Watching indecisive of which way he's going to go. Bad footwork. And that's been the problem for Mike Lamb and why he can't get consistent playing time, because the guy can absolutely rake at the plate.
There's no question he misplayed that ball, but it looked like it really stayed down. That second hop just didn't come up the way he was anticipating.
That's that big top spin second hop from Pujols.
Got Roland 1 of 2. Struck out and has an infield hit. Just off the outside corner. Ball 1 to Roland. The scoring decision on that ball, base hit.
Wow.
Well, we're in St. Louis. That's a fair ball. And again, it ricochets off the padding, and this may be another run. Pujols going to be held at the last second and runs through the stop sign. And he is out at the plate. What a marvelous play by Brad Ausmus. Went 20 feet to his left from where he set up. Had to go get the ball and tags him out to end the inning. Back after a break from your local Fox station. Albert Pujols runs through the stop sign put up by Jose Oquendo. And he's thrown out of the plate by the shortstop Jose Vizcaíno to end the bottom of the 4th inning. 4-3 Cardinals in front. Beltran the batter. And Matt Morris delivers a strike, 1-1. A big, big inning, to say the least, for Matt Morris, going through the heart of the order. And a one-hopper in Luna.
Heck of a play by Jose Vizcaíno to chase this ball out into shallow left field. We saw one ricochet off the bleachers earlier in the game. Gets to the ball, and as we said, Pujols running right through the stop sign. A tremendously athletic play by Brad Ausmus. Not only to catch that errant throw, but then hustle back and get the tag on Pujols before he could get the play.
Caught the ball and took 5 steps to make the tag on Pujols, who made an excellent effort to try to be safe there. It was a great slide. The mistake he made was running through that stop sign.
And you could clearly see Jose Oquendo, the third base coach, with his arms up in the air waving.
Look at how far Ausmus goes.
1-1 to Jeff Bagwell on the ground, down to Roland, who scoops it up. Throws a strike to Pujols. Brandon Backe, the Game 5 starter and winner, wearing a microphone for us. His reaction, our Fox sounds of the game.
Ran right to the stop sign. Wasn't even looking. What a play. That boy, Viz.
You know, I was actually a little surprised by the stop sign. I thought Jose Oquendo was going to wait and see who picked up the ball. Generally, the outfielder's coming in. If he gets the ball, you hold the runner. If the infielder going out gets the ball, then maybe you take a chance and send him.
And Matt Morris sets down Beltran, Bagwell, and Berkman in order. After 4.5, 4-3, St. Louis. Jim Edmonds to lead off the St. Louis 5th. Cardinals lead Game 6 of this National League Championship Series 4-3. Chad Qualls misses ball 1. Qualls following Peter Monroe and Chad Harville on the mound for Houston. Popped up, foul ground. And Lamb trying to go into his own dugout. Got a glove on it, but couldn't make the catch. It almost appeared as though he overran the ball.
It sure did. He gets to the wall here and then wants to dive way in there, but then it fades back. That wall, the ball may not have gone into the dugout. I don't think it would have. I think it was just right up against that fence.
Long way to run. He's shading over in the hole a little bit for Jim Edmonds. That ball just clanked off the heel of his glove. Just couldn't get there quickly enough to find that railing and then find the ball.
Fastball paints the outside edge. 1-2 on Edmonds, who is singled and flied out to left.
My question is, with his son that was just born, Andrew Michael, you think Lamb put a new bat or a new glove in the kid's crib? It ain't a glove.
Swing that bat and they'll find a position.
That's right.
You got that right.
Hook to the right side. Scooped up by Kent. One away. We caught up with Houston pitching coach Jim Hickey in between innings a moment ago.
Jim, obviously Pete Monroe didn't give you the outing today that everyone hoped for, but you guys have enough arms, I would think, in that bullpen to get you through this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We're well armed, I guess you would say, down there. We've got everybody available, and everybody could throw more than one inning and still probably be okay tomorrow. Harville and Qualls, neither one of those guys have thrown since game 1, so they'll be fine. They'll be rested and okay.
It appeared more than anything else, Jim, that Monroe was having problems with his location today. Would you agree with that?
I wouldn't disagree with that. It's kind of tough to tell from over here in and out. You can tell up and down a little bit, but you know, probably got a little bit of too much plate on a few of them. So I guess that would be a fair statement. Yeah.
Well, the good news is, even though the Cardinals have 11 hits, they've only scored 4 runs at this point. The Astros are still very much in this ball game, trailing by only 1 run.
Renteria shoots it foul. 1-2. Matt Morris, meanwhile, will allow 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks through the front 4 innings. Went right through the heart of the Houston batting order in the 5th.
That was huge. 7 pitches.
Tapper up the third baseline, foul.
Morris starting to struggle a little bit, gets into the 5th, throws 7 pitches to go right through the heart of that order, as you mentioned, Tom. Gives him a chance to go out there in the 6th. If he can pitch conservatively and effectively, that gives Tony La Russa so many more options towards the back half of this ball game with the 1-run lead.
1-2 the count on Edgar Renteria. Taken high. You just can't express enough what the emotions of Julian Tavarez and how they may have an effect on the outcome of this series. I mean, let's face it, as Renteria is gone on strikes. Of anybody down in that Cardinal bullpen, outside of their closer, Jason Isringhausen, that Tony La Russa has been able to count on for getting key outs in any situation. Starting an inning, coming in with 2 on, coming in with the bases loaded. It has been Tavarez this season. And whether or not he can take the ball in game 6 or game 7 is very much in question. And if you've got a 1-run lead going to the 7th inning and not have Tavarez available, you may not be playing game 7 or playing starting Saturday.
You can see Tavarez there just with some tape on those fingers. We saw the soft cast that he had on down in Houston. They did alter his ball glove. They cut the stitching between the little finger and the ring finger on his glove so that he could get that hand in there. The swelling did not allow him to fit the fingers into the holes of the glove, so they had to cut the divider between those 2 fingers so he could get his hand into the glove.
So now he's a throwback. 30 years ago, they used to use those 3-finger gloves.
That ball smoked into right center field by Sanders. And it's up against the wall. And Reggie pulls up with a 2-out double.
Oh. Reggie gone the other way a couple of times in this ball game. Boy, that is pretty. That is a nasty pitch, outer half of the plate. Lets the ball get deep into the strike zone. Great balance on that swing, and this ball is just roped. Watch the tail end of this play with Beltran. It's a sure double. But he comes up firing anyway and makes it a close play at second base.
Visit to the mound. We'd like to introduce our Budweiser fantasy players. And who else? Big Curt Schilling. A spectacular effort last night. Log on to foxsports.com. Keyword fantasy baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Well, now Phil Garner going to perhaps force Tony La Russa into a decision. Yeah, the pitcher, Matt Morris, due up next. Phil Garner will intentionally walk Mike Matheny, and the Cardinal bullpen springs to life.
Well, this is where what you talked about, Tom, comes into play with Julian Tavarez. He's a guy that can come in and take the ball for 6 outs for you, throw a lot of ground balls, and in a 1-run game, you don't want the balls jumping out of the yard here. Instead, he may have to go to either a guy like Ray King or Danny Herron was a guy that he thought might be first out of the pen for him. King up there throwing right now.
And Bobby Cox said many times during Ray King's lone season in Atlanta that never has he seen a pitcher get ready faster than Ray King. Said after 6 or 7 pitches in the bullpen, he's ready. So the decision has been made. John Mabry will come on and pinch hit for Matt Morris. Morris 5 innings, allows 5 hits, 3 runs.
This to me is where the frustration level of being a National League pitcher would really set in. Morris did not have his good stuff today. He battled through the 5 innings, but his 5th was by far the best against the heart of the Astros order. It almost would give you a lot of confidence running back out there for the 6th, but you don't get to do it.
And here is where you're seeing, and we talked about this at length with Tony La Russa before Game 2, how he far more enjoys managing in the National League, a purer form of baseball, where you have to make decisions like this during the game. In the American League, Matt Morris is still in the game. Mabry takes down an end, ball 1. Tony said that he thought during his days in Chicago and Oakland that the National League was a little on the uppity side, thinking it was a superior league. He said, once I got here, I realized it is baseball at its best.
Of course, if you had a pitcher that could go up there and get your base hit, you wouldn't worry too much about making a move, would you? How about the purity of a guy that can actually hit?
Well, you're still the only guy I know that likes American League baseball better than National League.
Fouled out of play. Of course, you and I, Steve, for those that haven't been with us out in the West Coast the entire year, have had this battle raging for about 5 years now.
Well, if you're a manager that likes to make decisions, the National League is the league for you. I mean, American League, you can fill out your lineup card, you sit back and watch home run derby.
1-2 pitch. And the inning is over. So they hit for Morris. Mabry comes up empty. We go to the 6th in a 1-run game. Battle of the bullpens is on, starting in the 6th inning. It's been Monroe, Harville, and Qualls for Houston. And now taking over for Matt Morris, the left-hander Ray King.
The numbers in this series not good for King. Love his philosophy of pitching. He says, I like to pitch 3 pitches to every hitter. Either the guy gets me or I get him. I don't want to be wasting any time. He either gets a base hit or he's making a right-hand turn back to the dugout. Fortunately, a couple of guys in this series got him.
Lance Berkman twice. Jeff Kent, Mike Lamb, Jose Vizcaíno. 1-run ball game. St. Louis in front. Cardinals won the first 2 games of his National League Championship Series, scoring 16 runs against Houston pitching. But once we shifted venues to the Lone Star State, Roger Clemens got the ball in Game 3, combined with Brad Lidge on a 5-hitter. Oswalt struggled but battled in 6 innings, allowed 5 runs, but effective 3 innings out of the bullpen from Wheeler and Lidge in a 1-run win. Renteria stands up, throws, and Pujols unable to pick it out of the dirt.
We talked earlier about Renteria's tremendous range and athleticism. It's a tough short hop over there for Albert Pujols at first base. How quickly he gets to his feet, recovers, makes that strong throw across the infield.
He wanted that ball to go about 6 inches further.
Now Mike Lamb, swing and a miss. Fouled away 0-2.
Lamb, of course, acquired late in spring training by these Houston Astros, was a member of the Yankees. Had a shot to play third base in that organization until this big trade went down for a guy named A-Rod.
Hurt him.
Mike Lamb said, I'm happy to be getting out of town now. I'm not going to get a whole lot of playing time.
Breaking ball in the dirt. Now, if you're wondering about Lamb against left-handers, he didn't get many at-bats this year, only 43 of them. But he had 15 base hits, including 2 home runs. That's a .349 batting average.
I'm sure there are some Astros fans out there saying, why not Morgan Ensberg right here to pinch hit and then stay in the game and play third? But if you look at that Cardinals bullpen, with Steve Klein's availability in question, this is the only left-hander Tony La Russa has available. So any pitchers we see the remainder of this ball game are going to be righties. We know Lamb can hit home runs against righties. We've seen it already tonight.
1-2 to Lamb. Chop foul. Well, Steve, if you're the Cardinals, I mean, you have a 1-run lead here, but you have left 8 men on base so far. I mean, you've had a chance inning after inning to bust this thing wide open.
Especially early in the ball game when they couldn't quite get over the hump and have a big inning against Pete Monroe.
One-two. Back to the mound. Could be 2. There's 1. That's a double play. Following our game today in St. Louis, stay tuned to Fox Sports coverage of Game 7 of the American League Championship Series between the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox from Yankee Stadium. Stay tuned to Fox Sports, your exclusive home for postseason baseball. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Al Leiter, Kenny Albert standing by. In the Bronx, Red Sox, we mentioned earlier, the first team ever to force a Game 7 after falling behind 3-0. Vizcaíno fouls it out of play.
Check out that play at second base with Renteria making the tag, and then Jeff Kent coming in awfully hard. Good hard baseball right there. Kent's a second baseman himself. He knows that that play is going to be made just like that.
And how big is that double play now? Base hit by Jose Vizcaíno. Well, this Cardinal bullpen, which was so good during the regular season, has had its troubles in this league championship series. They nearly gave away a 10-4 lead in Game 1. Houston made it 10-7. And put a man on base when Tony La Russa had to bring in his closer in the 9th inning. Tony La Russa going to make the pitching change. That's all for King. Faces 3 batters, gives up 2 hits, but got a big double play. We'll be back. 4-3, St. Louis in front. Houston batting with 1 on and 2 out in the top half of the 6th inning. We mentioned the name earlier, Andy Pettitte. This week's West Indies symptom checker. Left elbow surgery, end of the year for Andy Pettitte. He tried to come back after feeling discomfort, went on the disabled list twice this year, and they finally had to shut him down.
That's a big loss, too. That guy, he's pitched a few postseason games.
Just a few.
Is there a bigger or a better big game pitcher in the postseason than he is?
Well, maybe the only guy would be the guy who pitched last night in Boston. But, of course, Pettitte's had a lot more games to pitch in.
Yep.
Kiko Calero takes over. And in this league championship series, Calero has been scored upon 2 of his 3 outings. 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs.
Has struggled in the postseason. He's been such a versatile guy for Tony La Russa to use. During the regular season, 45 innings pitched, just 27 hits. Much different story in the postseason with the hits and runs scored off of him in just over 4 innings.
1-0 to Brad Ausmus. Vizcaíno at first. Check swing and a miss. Ausmus struck out looking. He's part of a strike him out, throw him out double play ending the second inning. He singled into center field in the fourth. Dan Wheeler has been up and throwing a couple of times in the Houston bullpen. He's ready. The pitcher spot is due up next. Blowing away to Ausmus. 2 balls and a strike.
Ausmus gets on. There's no question they'll hit for Qualls.
With Mike Lamb in the lineup tonight for the Astros, the only left-handed bat they have off the bench is Orlando Palmeiro. Right-handed hitting Jason Lane is 1 for 2 lifetime against Calero with a home run.
And Ensberg got Calero for an RBI double in this LCS. Pitch. Right back to the mound. Calero takes care of the 6th inning. 2 hits, a man left. Still 4-3 St. Louis. Top of the order coming up. Hector Luna to lead off the Cardinals' 6th inning. We're in Game 6 of a National League Championship Series. Cardinals trail 3 games to 2, but they lead here today by a run. Luna playing in place of Womack, who had to leave the game after a single in the 2nd inning with back spasms, is 0 for 2 after the pop fly to Berkman. It's October, and the Major League Baseball postseason is coming down to the wire. Every inning, every game, every play counts. Watch the World Series on Fox, beginning this Saturday, October 23rd. Don't miss it. Larry Walker down a strike. He's 0 for 3 today. 6 of 22 in the LCS. Well, the duo of Harville and Qualls, who struggled so mightily here at Busch Stadium when this LCS began, have been pretty sharp here in Game 6. Qualls got the big defensive play by Vizcaino when Pujols ran through a stop sign on a 2-out double by Rowland in the 4th inning, and Vizcaino threw out Pujols at the plate. In the air, right field. Room out there for Berkman. 2 gone. Albert Pujols, again a monster game. In the opening inning, off the 2-run home run into left center field off Monroe. He just missed a second home run with a double to right center in the 3rd. And then under the glove of Mike Lamb that was ruled a single in the 4th inning, so he's a triple away of hitting for the cycle. No player ever in postseason history has done that. The last Cardinal to do it, period, John Mabry back in '96. Pujols had 2 triples during the regular season.
Yeah, I think after this game is over, I believe his last hit will be changed to an error. If he hits a triple right here, it'll be awfully difficult to make that change. Because that was not a base hit his last time.
This is a tough ballpark to hit triples in for a guy like Albert Pujols, who doesn't have blazing speed. There are no nooks and crannies or angles or overhangs where outfielders would have problems corralling a ball.
Lamb making sure this time. And a 1-2-3-6 for Qualls. We're back to St. Louis after a break from your local Fox station. If there is a Game 7 here tomorrow night, future Hall of Famer Roger Clemens will get the start on 4 full days rest. Bill Garner making the decision to go with Peter Monroe rather than the Rocket on 3 days rest. You see his postseason this year. Lights out. Jeff Suppan has been mighty good this postseason as well. Orlando Palmeiro to pinch hit for Chad Qualls. What an excellent job by Qualls. 3 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Palmeiro trying to bunt his way aboard. He's behind Kiko Calero. 0-2. And of course tomorrow night, should there be a Game 7, we will conclude our exclusive high-definition coverage of a National League Championship Series with Game 7. It will begin with the all-new Dodge Dakota pregame show, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox.
I think both Qualls and Harville, even though Harville came in and gave up a double to Reggie Sanders, were both put in positions that they could succeed in a lot more like the way they were used during the regular season. Qualls got to start an inning instead of having to come in with guys on base. And he pitched the way he normally pitches.
And Qualls with 3 innings of effective pitching today, his longest outing of the year.
High fly ball. Reggie Sanders backs up on it. 1 away. Now we roll over to the top of the order. Greg Biggio is 0 for 3. Bounced to third in the first inning. Had a hit taken away on a leaping grab made by Renteria at short in the third. And then Biggio flied out to Walker and right in the fourth. Straight back, 1-1 to Biggio. Carlos Beltran waits in the on-deck circle. A 1-run St. Louis lead with 1 out, nobody on in the 7th. Popped up. 2 away.
Foul ball right into your living room. Watch out. Make a play.
Or duck.
See, it looks easy. You know, the ball's coming back there real slow. It looked like a beach ball. Full game speed, it doesn't look quite that easy.
Nearly every pitch has looked like a beach ball to Carlos Beltran. 1 of 2 today has walked, stolen a base, scored a run, singled and scored in the third, bounced out to second his last time up. Breaking ball in there, 1-1 to Beltran. Outside, let's go downstairs to Chris Myers.
Tom, there's a Beltran-Bernie Williams connection that was figured in Carlos's past, could in his future. They're both from Puerto Rico. Beltran said that Bernie helped him with hitting drills to improve his left-handed hitting. Beltran liked that Bernie Williams did it on the big stage.
Liner into right field, and it's off the wall. And again, Walker will hold Beltran to a single. Almost identical to the line drive in the third inning.
The only other guy that I've seen hit the ball so hard that he forces himself into singles was Dave Winfield. Beltran literally hitting the ball so hard it gets out there so quickly that he can't make it to second base.
Hitting the ball too hard.
Now Jeff Bagwell 2 for 3 at an RBI double down the third base line that scored Beltran from first in the third inning. And he pops up the first pitch. Walker coming hard and makes the running play to end the inning. Kiko Calero Getting back well on the pop fly to end the 7th. Last of a 7th inning. And the new pitcher is Dan Wheeler, who has thrown the ball so well in this postseason, especially in this league championship series. He got the win in relief of Game 4. Cardinals are 6 outs away from sending this National League Championship Series to a 7th game. Diving play made by Lamb at third. So a player not known for his defense comes up with a dazzling play here.
Good quick feet, great reaction. Watch how quickly he moves to his left. One step and a dive. That's all you have time for. You just hope it goes in your glove. Nice.
Well, fellas, this entire series really outside of Brad Lidge, the Houston closer. Both bullpens have really struggled, but both have been very sharp here in Game 6. And this game clearly will be decided by both bullpens.
And with that in mind, Tony La Russa has his closer, Jason Isringhausen, warming up down in that right field bullpen.
Makes you wonder about the availability, or the confidence level anyway, that Tony La Russa has in Julian Tavarez.
I think it's more the latter. I think he is available. He told us he was available, and we were told he can pitch. Obviously, he would have some problems fielding comebackers, but I think this is just more of a show of confidence in his closer, or a lack of confidence in Tavarez.
2-1 on Jim Edmonds.
This is a scary guy to be facing Edmonds right now. Edmonds been just a tad slow against the guys that have been throwing harder. Wheeler does not throw that hard.
2-2 on Edmonds. Edmonds 5 hits and 18 at bats. Almost all of his damage, like the rest of the Cardinals except for Pujols, has been done here at Busch Stadium. 2-2. Edmonds had a 3-run double in Game 1. Had a double in Game 2. And then down in Houston, homered his first at bat at Minute Maid Park in Game 3. But only one more hit thereafter. 3-2. Boy, the seasons put together during the regular year by Pujols, Roland, Edmonds. The highest scoring team in the National League. Popped up down the third base line and out of play. Still 3-2 on Edmonds. Wheeler again, a 3-2. Got him swinging for the second out of the inning. Here's today's game summary brought to you by Nissan. Monroe did not last 3 innings. Gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs. Matt Morris effective in his 5. Pujols another big day. It's the first time in this entire series a bottom part of the Cardinal batting order has come alive. Renteria and Sanders getting off the mat, and Renteria bangs one into left field, his 3rd hit. He had 1 hit total in the first 5 games. Clash of the Titans tonight at Yankee Stadium. Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. Second straight year the Yankees and Red Sox meet in the Bronx for a Game 7. Last year, a walk-off game winner by Aaron Boone.
The game-winning home run that Jeff Kent hit for the Astros in Game 5 of this series was the first game-winning home run that the Astros had all season long, which is amazing. The only team in the big leagues to do that.
A hanger hammered by Sanders.
You know, Reggie Sanders statistically has not had a great series, but you think back to the last game in Houston, he lined out to third. He hit a ball 425 feet to straightaway center field that Carlos Beltran caught backing up the hill, and has had 2 doubles in the ball game tonight. Hit another ball hard to right field earlier in the game. It looks like he's starting to come around at the plate.
And Sanders, one of those streaky players that when he gets hot, look out. He just missed. Fouling it straight back. He's behind 0-2.
Get about a quarter of an inch more of that ball, and it's going a long way. It might still be going. Wheeler's got to go out of the strike zone here with some of his breaking balls. Try to get Sanders to chase. As you said, Bobby, he's starting to look really locked in. Try to get him to swing at something that's out of the strike zone. Bounce one up there. Or 3.
Well, he's got some pitches to play with here. If he's going to go up high with a fastball, he better make sure it's up high enough out of the strike zone high. Basically, you don't want to throw a strike right here.
To Sanders. They don't throw a strike. It's down and in. Jason Isringhausen continues to throw, and throwing like he's coming into this game in the 8th inning. He only had two inning outings the entire regular season. Not a single one since May the 29th.
Well, he's been cranking in earnest this whole inning as the Cardinals have been hitting. Usually if it's a situation where you're going to wait to see whether you get to that pitcher spot to pinch hit or not, the pitcher will play a little bit of catch and then he'll stand and watch as the inning progresses, and as it gets closer and closer to that pitcher spot, he'll start warming up faster and faster. Isringhausen has been throwing game speed down there almost his whole inning.
And the NFL pregame show with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy comes your way. 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific this Sunday. The high-flying Jets will be featured. Fox NFL Sunday, America's #1 pregame show.
Isringhausen is coming in this game. Like you said, Bobby, you don't warm up like that and then hang around for another inning. Further examples we talked about at the top of this show. Tony La Russa going for the kill if he's got a chance to get it.
1-2 to Reggie Sanders. Swung on and popped back out of play. Another breaking ball that got a lot of the plate. Steve, you talked about it game 1. Bob, you saw it firsthand. You hang a breaking ball to this guy, you will pay dearly.
It's a real double-edged sword. The scouting report to Reggie Sanders is throw him good breaking balls, but if you throw him a bad breaking ball that hangs over the heart of the plate, he can hit that ball as far as anybody.
Come in with a fastball and just off that inside corner. Wheeler wanted the call, didn't get it.
Fastball down low. You see where Osmus is. He wanted it up and in, got it down and in, couldn't get the call. That's sort of like that old adage that they talk about. If you're a great breaking ball hitter, you'll never see one. They'll throw you fastballs all day long.
I'm sure Phil Garner is hoping for action right here on this pitch. A 2-2 count. You want to force Reggie Sanders to put that ball in play on this count. If you go to 3-2, Renteria will be off with the pitch and could conceivably score on a well-placed single.
Lined into left field, it'll fall. Well, Reggie Sanders getting his third straight hit. Well, Renteria and Sanders have combined for 6 hits today. They had combined for 2 hits this entire series before today.
Like a strike slider. Ball right in the middle of the plate. Good solid line drive into left field by Reggie Sanders.
Division series against the Dodgers, it was the back half of this order that really got things going for the Cardinals. It scored a lot of runs and did a lot of the damage. They have been silent in this series, but coming alive in tonight's ballgame.
Runners at first and second. 1-run game. Cardinals in front. And Mike Matheny, the batter, 0 for 2. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Well, that is a big, big run out there at second base in this one.
If Matheny gets the ball into the outfield as far as a base hit is concerned, it will not throw out Renteria at home. 2 outs, you're moving at the crack of the bat. The only good arm is in center field.
Matheny, 2 on, 2 out. Popped up at Biggio in left field. You saw him talking to himself. He said, hit it to me. And that'll end the inning. Only twice all year has Jason Isringhausen come on for 2 innings. Berkman will lead off against him, perhaps, in the 8th. So Taguchi is taken over in left field, part of a double switch, replacing Reggie Sanders. Tony La Russa will hand the ball to his closer, Jason Isringhausen, in the 8th inning. First pitch swinging, Lance Berkman down a strike. Told you earlier, this season, only twice has Isringhausen come on for a 2-inning save. Ironically enough, both of them against Houston. On April 22nd to nail down a 2-1 win. May 28th, a 2-1 win. The only time he's been used for more than 1 inning in this league championship series was game 5. And you know what happened there. He had a 1-2-3-8, allowed the walk-off home run to Jeff Kent in the 9th. Taguchi for the first out.
You see where Izzy was trying to go with that pitch, down and away, didn't come close to the location.
I thought it was very interesting, Steve, Bob, to hear your opinions. You know, before the game, we asked both Phil Garner And Tony La Russa, if they manage differently in the postseason than they do in the regular season, Phil Garner said absolutely not. Said by and large you don't do it. Maybe the one thing you'll do is bring on your closer for 2 innings, maybe more. But outside of that, not really. Tony La Russa said, you better believe we manage differently.
What are you doing? Well, that's because Phil Garner has had a tough time having anyone figure out exactly what he's doing as far as his managing style. He said he's had to try a bunch of different things. No one's sure what his norm is.
Well, and nobody really has to know, as long as his players believe in the moves that he makes, and they've been put in that situation throughout the regular season. And it's not unexpected to them.
Hammered down the left field line by Kent. Taguchi trying to cut it off, and he bobbles the ball, which will allow Kent to get into second base. Not that he wouldn't have otherwise, but if he cuts that ball off, it becomes a challenge for Kent.
Taguchi trying to hustle over there to try to backhand that ball to maybe keep Kent on first base. Flips off the outside of his glove and makes it easier for Kent to get into second.
It would have been interesting had Taguchi come up with that cleanly, because you knew Jeff Kent was going to try to go to second. You have to challenge that left fielder when he's going over into that corner. He has to make a perfect throw to get you.
Tying run at second, Mike Lamb, the batter. Fastball up and in. Lamb homered back in the 4th inning off Matt Morris.
Now, this was just a pop-up compared to the foul homer that he hit on the pitch before.
Lamb getting his first start of this league championship series today. Got tied up on a fastball in.
One of the things that Gary Gaetti says about Lamb is that he's very quiet with his entire body except for his hands. He's a hands hitter only.
Kent leads at second. Breaking ball sails high and away.
As you saw right there, Isringhausen will mix in that big curveball from time to time, and on occasion he'll try to throw a two-seam sinking fastball, but very similar to Mariano Rivera. He lives and dies with that cutter and his ability to locate it.
Same pitch that tied him up a moment ago. This time they say he didn't go around on the appeal to Gary Darling at third. Looks like the Astros got a break.
One of the advantages, at least if you believe some of the hitters, to using a black bat. Tougher to see it coming through the hitting area.
In the air down the right field line, and that ball bending foul and out of play.
Especially in night games if you're an outfielder. And especially for a guy like Lamb, who doesn't have a whole lot of extra movement through his body. You're not sure if the guy's pulled the ball or he's swinging the bat inside out because you can't see the bat. All you're seeing is the movement of the swing.
Came in there again and got him swinging.
Another cutter down and in this time to Lamb. Such a hard pitch to identify. The rotation looks just like a regular four-seam fastball that's going to track straight all the way to home plate. Just enough sliding movement inside to the left-handed hitter.
Tying run at second in the 8th inning, 2 out. Jose Vizcaino, the batter. 1 of 3. Fouls it straight back for strike 1. Terrific numbers for Vizcaino against the Cardinal closer. Coming up next, Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. Derek Lowe against Kevin Brown.
Look at how shallow the outfielders are playing defensively now. one of the best outfields defensively that Tony La Russa can throw out there. It's Taguchi in left, Edmonds, good arm, great range in center, and Larry Walker, a Gold Glover, of course, as well in right. Whereas we talked last inning with 2 outs and Renteria on second base, I said there was no chance that he'd get thrown out on a base hit. There is a definite chance with these 3 outfielders that they may have a play at the plate, even with 2 outs. Kent's got to get an aggressive lead.
Little pop up right side. Who wants it? Luna's got it. That'll end the inning. Tying run stranded at second. Cardinals bat in the bottom of the 8th, leading 4-3. Cardinals batting for what they hope will be the final time in Game 6 of this National League Championship Series, leading 4-3. So Taguchi down a strike against Dan Wheeler. Oh, 2. Boy, both bullpens have been so good here today after really struggling outside of Brad Lidge through the first 5 games of this series. In fact, throw Dan Wheeler in there as well. Wheeler's not allowed to run down the left field line and out of play. The Astros bullpen, even with Lidge's numbers, nearly 6.5. The Cardinal bullpen, the best in the National League during the regular year, an earned run average of 7.5 in this LCS. That's a fair ball. And now Osmer's going to flip it down to Bagwell. 1 away.
We talked about the importance in these close games of an insurance run late in the ball game. The Cardinals have left 10 runners on base. As you look at Taguchi hit this ball, and then he thought it was foul.
It looked like the first bounce was well behind home plate, but bounces back into fair territory before it's touched by anybody. And Ed Rapuano, the home plate umpire, right on top of the play.
Hector Luna batting for the 3rd time. He's 0 for 2. Tony Womack, if you weren't with us, singled and scored in the first, singled again in the second, had to leave the game when the Cardinals took the field for the top of the 3rd with back spasms. Got to wonder about his availability for a possible Game 7 tomorrow. 0-2.
Those of you out there who have had back spasms, I have. Extremely painful, and they don't generally go away in 24 hours.
Strike 3 call, paints the inside corner. And Wheeler has his 2nd strikeout in relief.
Well, Steve, you mentioned it earlier. Wheeler doesn't throw as hard as some of the other relievers we've seen out of the bullpen for both of these teams, but he spots that fastball and uses it effectively. Usually after a couple of off-speed pitches, he kind of lulls the hitter to sleep a little bit and then spots that heater on the inside corner. Absolutely freezes Luna.
Cardinal faithful smelling it. Larry Walker down a strike. One and one. We told you before this one got started, since the LCS went to a best-of-7 format in '85, 10 teams have been in a similar position as the Cardinals, heading into Game 6, trailing 3 games to 2. In 7 of the 10 cases, the road team won Game 6 to wrap up the series. But the 3 home teams which won Game 6 to force a 7th game all won Game 7 as well. Boston did it to the California Angels in 1986. The Cardinals stormed back in 1987 to knock off your San Francisco Giants, Bob Brennan. And then in 1996, the Atlanta Atlanta Braves over the St. Louis Cardinals. Hold foul.
To me, the biggest fear was starting Peter Monroe today instead of Roger Clemens. And point well taken. Clemens on 3 days rest. The history is never really very good. 42 years old. Might not have gotten a great outing out of him, but you did not want to put St. Louis in a position where they started thinking they were a good team again. They basically got whipped around for 3 straight days. You don't want to get them back here thinking they're good at their home ballpark.
And the home team has won every game in this series. In a 7-game series, that has only been done 3 times, all time. 87 and 91 Twins and the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks. Oh, Walker, a couple of big hacks. Still 2-2. Of course, the Twins in 87 beat the St. Louis Cardinals, winning all 4 at the Metrodome. They did it to the Atlanta Braves in 91, and then mentioned earlier, Bob Brenly, your 2001 Diamondbacks won the first 2 over the Yankees, lost 3 heartbreakers at Yankee Stadium, and then behind Johnson and Schilling, won game 6 and 7 in Arizona.
A good move by Osmus to go out there and talk. Wheeler hasn't been fooling Walker with too much over the last 3 or 4 pitches.
Didn't fool him there either.
I don't know about you, Steve, but I always felt the longer an at-bat went on, the more and more the advantage shifted to the hitter. You get a better look at that pitcher. You've seen everything he has to throw up there. Get that strike zone narrowed down a little bit more with each passing pitch. Walker's had some real good passes at Wheeler here.
Bigger chance to hit a mistake.
3-2. This will be the 10th pitch in this at-bat to Larry Walker. And it results in a pop-up. Vizcaíno makes a play. Osmus, a pinch hitter. Then Biggio against Isringhausen. Cardinals 3 outs away from sending it to game 7. Jason Isringhausen set to begin the 9th inning. Trying to preserve this 4-3 lead and turn it into a 4-3 win. And send it to game 7 tomorrow night. Morgan Ensberg to pinch hit for Brad Osmus. Looks at a strike. Ensberg 2 of 18 in the league championship series with a home run. Breaking ball high. This is the first game of this series. Ensberg has not gotten a start at third base. Saw Eric Bruntlett standing in the on-deck circle and would bat for the pitcher, Dan Wheeler. 2-1.
Tom, I said in game 1 that coming to St. Louis wasn't all that intimidating and that there wasn't a huge home field advantage. In this inning with Izzy on the mound, if he starts throwing strikes and getting outs, you'll see what kind of home field advantage this crowd can muster. You'll hear it.
Popped up right side, and that ball in amongst the fans. 2-2 to Ensberg. Ensberg has some popping at bat. Had 25 home runs last year, but only 10 this year. And he's hit with a pitch to begin the inning. Isringhausen's control at times this year has been shaky at best, including this series.
Good look at that last pitch. It looked like from where Mike Matheny was set up, they were trying to throw a two-seamer down and in. That ball just got away from Isringhausen, hit Ensberg right in the ribs.
That's not even close.
Bruntlett had a pair of sacrifices at AAA before they brought him up to the big leagues. He does not have a single sacrifice with Houston this year. Rolen already a couple of paces in on the grass at third to guard against the bunt. Can't roll it out there any better than that. Pujols thought about second and just does get the out at first. So nicely done by Bruntlett, sending the tying run into scoring position in the top of the order coming up.
Perfectly executed sacrifice bunt. You have to make the first baseman field the ball. He's responsible to hold that runner over there. Gets a late break towards home. Third baseman has no responsibility on that play. He can charge right down your throat. Nice job of killing that ball out there in the infield grass.
Well, here we go. Top of the ninth inning. Tying run at second base. And Craig Biggio to face Jason Isringhausen. Biggio is 0 for 4. He is not knocked in a single run in this league championship series.
I don't think Isringhausen has thrown a breaking ball for a strike since he came into the ball game. The only pitch he's been able to command with any consistency is that cut fastball. He hit Ensberg with a two-seamer. He missed with another one earlier in the count and has not thrown a curve for a strike.
Craig Biggio, selected by the Astros in the first round back in 1987, was in the minor leagues for 150 games. He's been with the Astros since '88. He is their heart and soul. And he pops it up and out of play.
He's trying to take his name off of that list of players with most games played without ever having appeared in a World Series. He's number 2 on that list. Rafael Palmeiro, number 1.
In the air, left center field. Taguchi will get to it. And now decision time for Tony La Russa. You're down to the final out with the hottest hitter in the postseason coming up and first base open, Carlos Beltran. Do you walk Beltran and pitch to Bagwell or go after Beltran here? Fellas, what would you do? Bob, you've been in this spot.
And this is not an easy spot, and Dave Duncan's going to make his way out to the mound to talk it over with Jason Isringhausen just to make sure they're all on the same page and they know exactly what they want to do. Beltran has not hit Isringhausen well throughout the career, 1 for 7 during the regular season. Jeff Bagwell 6 for 15 with a home run and 6 walks. Tough decision. For me, I got to walk the guy. I can't let him beat me.
Of course, Isringhausen faced Beltran in the 9th inning of Game 5, leading off that inning, and Beltran singled into right, and they're going to walk him.
Not a tough decision for me. I'm walking all day, every day. Bagge's been a great player. He's got good numbers against Isringhausen, but right now you're talking about the hottest man on the planet. Do not let him beat you.
That's the loudest cheer I've ever heard for an intentional walk in my life.
These fans actually tried to boo Beltran in his first at-bat, and it was the most respectful boo you'll ever hear in your life.
Yeah, well, Barry Bonds hears it for 81 games a year. That same respectful boo. Well, we talked about Biggio, and of course, hand in hand with him through the years in an Astros uniform is Bagwell, who has excellent numbers against Isringhausen. The last time Jason Isringhausen intentionally walked a batter to pitch to the next batter, he walked Berkman to face Kent. That was in the 9th inning 2 days ago.
Two things come into play in my mind when that happens. Number one, it's very difficult for the pitcher to get his rhythm back and throw strikes after intentionally throwing 4 balls. The other thing is the hitter locks in because it's embarrassing to have a guy walk in front of you.
Bagwell hammers the first pitch. It'll fall in, a base hit. Racing home is Ensberg, and Bagwell delivers. A 4-4 game in the 9th inning. The biggest base hit of Jeff Bagwell's Hall of Fame career.
That pitch had hit me written all over it. Just a fastball right down the middle.
That's the second game in a row where the hitter has not waited around after the intentional walk. Kent hit the first pitch out of the yard. Bagwell hits the first pitch to drive in the tying run.
And now Lance Berkman trying to jump on that first pitch. Big swing and a miss. Now the go-ahead run, the speedy Carlos Beltran out at second base. Berkman 0 for 2. There go the runners. And no throw to either bag. A double steal by Beltran, and Bagwell taking away the force.
Isringhausen very deliberate in his delivery to home plate and really pays very little attention to the base runners.
That could be big right there. I don't think you can just let those guys waltz into the next bag. I don't think where Scott Rowland was playing in that situation, he could actually beat Beltran to third base.
And now, of course, pitch in the dirt. Could bring in a go-ahead run.
Pretty tough to throw one by Mike Matheny, but it certainly sets up the possibility.
2-1 to Lance Berkman. Jam shot fouled over the screen.
Base hit now scores 2 runs as well. I mean, at least if the guys are on first and second. On base hit, you have the opportunity to throw the guy out at home, but if not, at least it only scores 1 run.
Beltran, the go-ahead run at third. Bagwell at second. 2 out. 2-2 to Berkman. Breaking ball high. Brad Lidge has been up for quite some time and ready to go. They've already pinch hit for Wheeler, so we will see Lidge in the bottom of the 9th. Tied or with Houston in front. And we're tied. The hit, batsman, and intentional walk. Bagwell drives in a tying run. Heart of the order coming up for St. Louis. Jeff Bagwell with a 2-out run-scoring single to tie this game 6 at 4. Jason Lane replaces Lance Berkman in right as part of a double switch. Raul Chavez behind the plate. And now the Astros closer, who has been nothing shy of phenomenal during this postseason, Brad Lidge. The 1 run he gave up was during the division series. Power against power to open the 9th. Albert Pujols stands in. And the bottom falls out. On the ground of the shortstop, Vizcaíno. And Pujols retired. 1 away. You know, we brought it up back in the 7th inning when Kiko Calero was left in the game in a 1-run game. Julian Tavarez, after giving up the home run to Carlos Beltran, has been pitching in that spot the 7th inning or the 8th inning all year long with 1-run leads. Tony La Russa had not asked Jason Isringhausen to come on for a 2-inning save since May. But perhaps because of the injury to Tavarez, he had to ask Isringhausen to do it today, and he can't get it done. One and one to Roland.
Another thing you run into in the postseason because of the overexposure, if you will, of closers. Guys get to see him on back-to-back days, perhaps 3 days out of 4, and suddenly you get a much better look at that closer where maybe you only see him a couple or 3 times over the course of an entire season. Now you're seeing the guy 3 or 4 times in a series. You get a much better look, a much better idea of what he throws and how he's going to try to get you out.
1-2 to Roland. Struck him out.
If you're a Cardinal fan, you're hoping that that's true because so far Lidge has been lights out. Any Cardinal that's walked up there anytime he's stepped on the mound. First pitch was a slider, another slider right there. Then he goes hard up and in. Filthy stuff.
Now Jim Edmonds takes a strike. Edmonds 1 for 4, singled back in the opening inning. Saw that note on Lidge, 10 strikeouts. And hitting the deck is Edmonds.
Whoa. I think it's harder for a guy like Edmonds to get out of a way on a pitch like that because he has a very casual attitude as far as his stance is concerned.
Well, now Tony La Russa comes out of the dugout. Tony La Russa was very upset. In fact, downright irate at Bob Watson, the head of disciplinary measures in Major League Baseball, before the game today. The story began to circulate that Julian Tavarez and his 3-0 pitch, which almost hit Jeff Bagwell in the head prior to that meltdown by Tavarez, that the Cardinal reliever was fined $10,000 by Major League Baseball. Swing and a miss by Edmonds. After the pitch was thrown, a warning was issued to both benches. I'm sure La Russa's question here is, you didn't issue a warning after that pitch, which knocked my guy down up around his head. Inning over. We go to extra innings for the first time in this LCS. Jeff Kent to lead it off. 4 for our score. Jason Isringhausen, who only twice this year was used for 2 innings, will now start his 3rd inning out of the Cardinal bullpen. And Jeff Kent, first pitch swinging, pops it up. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Nobody else in that Cardinal bullpen is even throwing. Tony La Russa pretty much sticking with Isringhausen. As you said, this will be the longest outing ever.
And you got to wonder, when all is said and done, whether this series and this season ends today for the Cardinals or tomorrow or at the end of the World Series, how much longer Julian Tavarez will be pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals. Tony La Russa was so upset when we met with him the day after Tavarez had his explosion in the dugout and broke 2 bones in his hand. Straight away center field and hit well. Edmonds going back to the wall with room.
La Russa was upset enough with the tantrum that Tavarez displayed there in that dugout, but more upset about injuring himself and putting this team in a position where he couldn't use them.
And make no mistake, the guy had a great year. He can't pitch. There's no debate about that.
And that's what magnifies the problem. This is a guy that this team has relied on all season long to come in and get big outs.
Jose Vizcaíno down a strike. Broken bat roller. And Isringhausen will get to the bag. Sharp. 10th inning for the Cardinal closer. Renteria will start things. They'll hit for the pitcher, then Mike Matheny. 4-4 game. Bet against Brad Lidge. Bottom half of the 10th inning. 4-4 game. And Renteria takes a 96-mile-per-hour fastball to strike. Lidge only needed 10 pitches to set down the side in order in the ninth. He has thrown 86 pitches in this series. 2 innings, 1 inning, 1 here today. Renteria's bat has come alive in Game 6. He was 1 for 17 in the first 5 games. 3 hits, 3 singles, 2 batted in today. Roger Clemens waits on deck. Tapper down to third. Lamb's throw picked out of the dirt by Bagwell.
Mike Lamb gets his feet a little crossed up. You don't normally feel the ground ball with your left foot directly behind your right foot, but Jeff Bagwell makes a great play on the other end to pick that ball out of the dirt. Tough short hop.
Roger Clemens takes strike 1 from Lidge.
Lidge has been so effective. The Cardinal hitters have to go up there looking for a potential mistake. They're not going to hit the nasty stuff that Lidge throws up there.
That's a fair ball. 2 away. All you need to know about Brad Lidge, if you've never seen him throw a pitch, is that the Houston Astros had him as a setup man last year. He would get in the 7th. Octavio Dotel in the 8th and Billy Wagner in the 9th. Now, due to primarily financial considerations, they traded away Wagner to Philadelphia. And then early this season, Dotel in a 3-way deal to Oakland. That tells you what they thought about Brad Lidge's chances. 0-1 to Mike Matheny.
Well, it's pretty hard to look at this guy and watch some of the swings that major league hitters take against him and not believe that he could be a good closer.
They saw Tavarez down there throwing. Swing and a miss by Matheny. First time Tavarez has been up and throwing in the bullpen since he broke the 2 bones in his non-pitching left hand. Joined down there by Cal Eldred. Saw him pointing down there to Tavarez. Does that mean go ahead and sit down, or does that mean you're coming in?
I'm not sure what was said there. Marty Mason, the bullpen coach, was, as you said, pointing at Tavarez while he was saying something to Eldred.
We go to the 11th inning as Chavez makes a throw down to first. Lidge strikes out the batter to end the inning. End of 10, 4-4. It's the first time we've seen Julian Tavarez since Game 4 in the 7th inning in Houston. Of course, he allowed the tie-breaking home run to Carlos Beltran. And after falling behind Jeff Bagwell, threw one right at his noggin. Walked Lance Berkman, hit Jeff Kent with a breaking ball, got a double play grounder to end the inning, and then goes berserk leaving the field, including the smash you'll see here in a minute. Right there, which probably broke the 2 bones in his left hand. Tavares had an outstanding regular season. 77 games, a 2.38 ERA, and a 7-4 record. A big reason why the Cardinals won 105 games. No denying that. Jason Lane to lead things off. Strike one from Tavares. Lane to be followed by Raul Chavez and then Craig Biggio.
If Tavarez throws the ball the way he's supposed to throw it and the way he likes to throw it, you see a lot of ground balls. Very tough to elevate his sinker and slider.
0-2 to Lane, getting his first at bat of the game. Driven into deep left center field, and Edmonds with room shy of the track.
Well, you talked about it, Steve Tavares, with the good sinking fastball, good hard slider. Let's take a look at that at bat. Good hard sinker, first pitch for a strike. Matheny moves out a little on the outside corner, gets strike two, and then hangs a slider. Got away with one right there. Matheny wanted that ball in the dirt, low and away. He hung it up over the middle of the plate. Fortunately for the Cardinals, Lane hit it off the end of the bat.
Chavez, one start in this league championship series and got one of the biggest hits in this series for Houston. Had a run-scoring single in the sixth inning against Kiko Calero when Houston came from behind and beat Tavares 6-5. A base hit by Chavez tied the game. 0-2.
Better slider that time from Tavarez. Got it on the outside corner, breaking down low and away.
Coming up shortly, Game 7 of the American League Championship Series from the Bronx. That will begin 7:20 Central Time, 8:20 Eastern Time. Swing and miss. There's that slider Matheny wanted. Little drop down action that time by Julian Tavarez.
This is why Matheny says he's so tough. The arm angles, the pitches, got a sinker, slider, and a split finger pitch, but Matheny says it's all the arm angles. And look at Matheny picking and grinning behind the plate. But he's got about 8 pitches because of the different arm angles he comes with. Even he's not sure what he's going to get.
2 down, nobody on now. Craig Biggio. If you're Phil Garner, and you still have 4 spots before Brad Lidge's spot is due up, do you run him out there for a 3rd inning? Oh, the decisions managers have to make.
Well, at this point, there's nobody throwing in the bullpen.
No, I understand that, but, I mean, are you wrestling with it? A 3rd inning? You can understand Tony La Russa doing it. I mean, he's down 3 games to 2.
You lose tonight's ball game, and you're in a 2-1 affair in the 8th inning tomorrow. Is Lidge available if he goes out there for a 3rd inning tonight?
Man.
Well, if you use Lidge for the 3rd inning tonight, you could conceivably use Oswald as your closer tomorrow.
Now you better have a lot of confidence in those middle guys like Qualls and Harville again, who both threw in today's ball game, because no, I don't think anyone's expecting Clemens to go 7 or 8 tomorrow. Oswald might have to get the 3-inning save if they're ahead and winning.
Fastball just off the outside corner. 2-1 to Biggio. 0 for 5 today. 5 of 27 in the series. On the ground, Renteria arranging to his left. And a perfect 11 for Julian Tavarez. Brad Lidge will begin his 3rd inning of work. As we go to the bottom half of the 11th inning, Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. Now, Lidge was brought on his first appearance in the postseason this year against Atlanta. Game 2 of the divisional series. Was brought in the 7th inning. He gave up 4 hits in a run. That is the only run he has given up in this postseason. The last time he pitched 3 full innings out of the bullpen, May of 2003 at Wrigley Field.
It would be hard to think that he could be as amazing as he has been going forward. He's got to be tired.
I mean, the numbers are staggering for Lidge. 11 1/3 innings in his postseason, 5 hits, the 1 run, as we mentioned, in his very first playoff appearance ever. In his LCS, 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 12 strikeouts, which is an LCS record for a reliever.
If he is tired, it certainly doesn't show up on the radar gun. Still consistently hitting 95, 96 with his fastball. And that slider in the high 80s, 87, 88, 89.
This is the time where the St. Louis hitters have to be a little more patient on him. He's not hitting the strike zone. Hasn't lost any velocity. He's not throwing as many strikes. You got to go up there and try to take a few strikes, get some base runners against him.
Because doesn't look like you're going to hit him.
This isn't a strike. The pitch before it wasn't a strike.
The Cardinals offense in the first 5 innings of this game had 4 runs on 12 hits. In the last 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits. And the 2 hits came back-to-back with 2 men out against Dan Wheeler in the 7th inning. Marlon Anderson will now be brought on as a pinch hitter. 11 consecutive Cardinals have been set down by the Astros bullpen.
Imagine right about now there's some starting pitchers for both of these teams going back up to the clubhouse to put their cleats on. Phil Garner has emptied the cupboard as far as position players. He has nobody available on his bench at this point. Tony La Russa only has his backup catcher Molina available as a position player, and both managers with 3 relief pitchers left in the bullpen.
And by emptying that bench, bear in mind the pitcher spot is due up 3rd should there be a 12th inning in this game for Houston. Marlon Anderson behind on the count 0-2. Foul back to the screen. Marlon Anderson came up with some big pinch hits this year for the Cardinals, including some pinch hit home runs. Game 7 coming up. Well, the American League Championship Series after this one. If there's a Game 7 in this series, right back here tomorrow night. Popped up. Biggio will get there. 2 away. Larry Walker is 0 for 5. 6 of 24 in the series with 2 home runs. Strike 1 from Brad Lidge. Lidge okays a sign with Chavez and goes to work. Fastball away at 95. Lidge has allowed 1 hit in 4 games of this league championship series. And no runs. He's ahead of Walker at 1-2. Well, if the Astros win this series, and that's a big if, Carlos Beltran would probably be named the MVP. You'd have a hard time convincing anybody there's been a more valuable player than Brad Lidge, who sets down the side in order in the 11th. He faces 9 hitters, strikes out 5 of them. Beltran will lead off the 12th in a 4-4 game. Brad Lidge, 3 perfect innings out of the Houston bullpen. Strikes out 5. He's due up 3rd in the inning. Marlon Anderson pinch hit a moment ago for Hector Luna, and Marlon will remain in the game to play second base. Dan Maselli throwing out in the Astros bullpen. Roy Oswalt is now starting to get loose next to him down there. Lidge's spot due up 3rd here in the 12th inning of game 6. Beltran, first pitch swinging, and Pujols wins the sprint to the bag. Well, what a huge out that is for Tavarez.
You know, they always say you shouldn't slide headfirst into first base, but if you see Big Albert Pujols running the other way right at you, you better try to get out of the way somehow. That's just to avoid contact.
Now Jeff Bagwell. He tied the game with a 2-out RBI single to left field off Jason Isringhausen in the top of the 9th inning. Pitch up and popped up behind the plate. Matheny with room. Julian Tavarez has retired the first 5 batters he's faced. And now he will face a pinch hitter. As we told you, Oswalt starts to throw. And Dave Duncan going to make sure, even with the pinch hitter, who is a pitcher coming up, the game 5 starter, Brandon Backe, who threw 8 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball, will come up to bat for Brad Lidge.
You got to remember that Brandon Backe has only been pitching for 3 years. He signed as a second baseman, spent 3 seasons in the Tampa Bay organization as an outfielder.
Two down, nobody on. Backe digging in. First pitch breaking ball in there, strike 1. Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. Houston leading in the best-of-7, 3 games to 2. 0-2 to Backe. And now 52,144 will stand, looking for the final out. Big hitters coming up in the St. Louis 12th.
Whoa.
Steady diet of breaking balls from Tavarez to Backe here. This one hangs up over the middle of the plate. I want to mix in a fastball somewhere out of the zone just to give him a different look.
Backe made a great adjustment in his swing. Strided out there quickly, stopped, and then unloaded.
And another breaking ball from Tavarez. Brandon Backe checking that bat, banging it on the dirt around the home plate area to see if there's a crack in there. Still not sure.
How many pitchers do you know come up to the plate with a bat that's got a ton of pine tar all over it, taped up on the handle?
Not Backe. He has been used as a pinch hitter once this season, and he got a base hit. Fastball dismissed. We welcome those of you in the New York and Boston areas now joining us on FX. A 4-4 game in the 12th inning at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Game 6 of this National League Championship Series. 3-2 to the pinch hitter, pitcher Brandon Backe. What a battle Backe is giving Tavarez, trying to keep the inning alive for Jeff Kent. Struck him out. Cardinals with Pujols, Roland and Edmonds coming up. We're back after a break from your local Fox station. Miceli, he got the loss in Game 2, allowing 2 home runs in 1 inning. And he gave them up to Pujols and Roland to lead off this inning. Ball 1 away.
I did not like the way Miceli finished up his warm-up tosses. Threw 4 straight balls to end it. The last 2 nowhere near the strike zone.
Two 2-0. Miceli suffered the loss during the division series in Atlanta Game 2 when he gave up the home run to Rafael Furcal. Well, after falling behind 2-0, I know it would be a leadoff walk, but are you going to let Pujols beat you or anybody after him with 1 swing of the bat? Nowhere close.
Now the point now being, you don't need 1 swing of the bat to beat you anymore. You do if there's nobody on. Once you have base runners on, a gapper can beat you.
Well, here today, Chad Harville and Qualls have both made up for disappointing outings in this league championship series. Combining for 3 2/3 innings of shutout baseball is tonight Miceli's chance to make amends. A mile high and playable for Chavez. 1 away. Well, rolling up there, first pitch hacking after a 4-pitch walk to Poole. You gotta wonder.
Now, those guys in the middle of the lineup are not used to getting a take sign. They're up there to swing the bat. They're up there to drive in runs. Rolla perhaps chasing a pitch a little bit up out of the strike zone. Couldn't get on top of it.
This was the guy, Jimmy Edmonds was the guy that I said at the top of the show that needed to make an impact for the Cardinals today. You don't get many bigger chances than this at-bat right here.
Edmonds singled his first time up. He struck out his last 2 times up. First pitch swinging, dumps it foul. Edmonds hit 42 home runs during the regular season. And we are going to Game 7 in the National League Championship Series. We had not had a walk-off home run in NLCS play since 1986. And now we get them back-to-back. Kent in Game 5, Edmonds in Game 6. Let's go downstairs to Chris Myers.
All right, I'm with Jim Edmonds, who's exhausted. Just got a handshake from Tony La Russa. Congratulations, Jim. Talk about the pitch you hit.
I don't even remember. The fastball up, I was just trying to be short and quick and finally hit the barrel after about 2 weeks of struggling. I'm just trying to hit the ball and play, man. This is awesome.
I know it is awesome. These fans, and how frustrating. What kind of a roller coaster ride for you emotionally? Looking like the game was won. The Astros tie it late and win an extra inning.
Well, Izzy was out there. He's our man. And, they worked hard and got a run. And when you're at home, just like they were, you always got the last at bat. And we got Game 7.
And Roger Clemens, a quick thought on facing him, but here.
It's going to be a battle. It's going to be fun.
All right, good luck. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Tom?
Well, you know what they're thinking in St. Louis. The last time they had an LCS walk-off game winner, the Wizard of Oz in 1985. For more information on today's game and for the latest information on Major League Baseball, go to foxsports.com. For Steve Lyons, Bob Brenly, Chris Myers, and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman saying so long. Jeannie and Kevin will be along in the Fox Network Center with Game 7 of the ALCS coming up. Well, like the American League, the National League will play a 7th game. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Script October.
Naturally, Albert Pujols, Jeannie, you're right. In the first inning, 2-run or home run right there. Looks like the Cardinals are on their way to tying this series early at Renteria. First couple of RBIs of the postseason, Jeannie. Cardinals go up 4-2. And then what happened?
Top of the ninth, Jeff Bagwell. This is a guy you want to have the bat in hand. Of course, they took care of Carlos Beltran before him. Didn't want to give him a chance.
That's exactly. Well, that's the right move. Plenty of roofs to put the walk to Beltran, the most valuable player definitely in the postseason. And Isringhausen gives it up to Bagwell. That would tie it. Lidge pitched great, but it goes to the 12th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Kennedy called this in the studio, so none of us were surprised.
Well, I like the matchup. Jimmy Evans is a high fastball hitter. That's exactly what he got from Maselli, although I don't think he hit his location. He wanted to go down and in, it looked like. He missed up and in. Edmonds, we know for left-handed hitters, a high ball hitter, and he does force it to Game 7. Clemens for the Astros against Jeff Suppan.
24 combined.